Welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. I know a lot of people are probably confused because we're normally here on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are a day to be live. So what you're probably confused about is it's Tuesday, but Wednesday is here. And then I will be back again live tomorrow on Wednesday, but Wednesday won't be here. So if you're making scheduling notes, you're going to want to keep an eye on all those upcoming events. So today, Tuesday with Wednesday, tomorrow, Wednesday without Wednesday. I was in California for the weekend. I had a great trip, and I flew out and got off the plane in Burbank, and Michelle and I went to, the first thing we went to do is to see the current state of the Christmas vacation house. It's located on the Warner Ranch in Burbank. It's in disarray, and they are demolishing everything. The Christmas vacation house is actually visible, believe it or not. And it was visible because they've taken down everything that was in front of it, trees, buildings, you name it. So anyway, that was my first stop. Then and we got some video that'll be coming soon. Then we went and met Wednesday at Bob's Big Boy. That's kind of a legendary spot in this world. I think I've got some Bob's Big Boy figures around here somewhere in the collection. So we did that. And then Wednesday said that he was thinking about going to see Donnie V. As you know, Donnie V is Enough's Enough. There's no Enough's Enough without him. And so we made a plan to go that night to see Donnie V at the world famous Whiskey A Go-Go, where I will point out Wednesday 13 will be playing in, I think, about 3 weeks. You can check his website for the tour dates. We'll link those things. Wednesday is going on a 38-city tour. This is the most wonderful time of year for everyone who's into horror. If you're into Wednesday 13, if you're into horror conventions, Sean Clark, who will be here in just a minute, he's got you covered too. So we went to the Whiskey A Go-Go, and so began our bromance, if you will. We spent Wednesday 13 and we spent the weekend together. It was magic. He'll tell you more about it when he's here. But we had a great time. Donnie V sounded great, and it was great to see him. And we ran into a lot of cool people. It's funny, between myself, Wednesday, and Sean, how many people you all know, you interact with in separate types of life. So we'll see a lot of those people here today. So anyway, the Halloween convention was happening. Halloween 45, H45, Horror Hound magazine putting it on with the family, the Akkad family, who are the owners of the Halloween trademark. I believe that's how it works. Sean will tell us when he gets here. He's running fashionably late. And so anyway, so we went to that convention, and we were really excited. And we're going to tell you kind of about, we were just going to go for a few hours on Saturday. And then that turned into a few hours on Sunday. And then our entire lives became Halloween. We then decided that we had to go take the Halloween tour ourselves. We added a few spots that no one usually does when they're on the Halloween tour. We'll talk about those. Sean is here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, bring everybody in, and we'll discuss Halloween weekend. Evil dies tonight, right after this. Just wanna waste some time with you. Sometimes it seems too good to be true. Nobody out there can waste time without you. To have these guys here. There's two, couldn't be two people that I like more than these guys. So here's Wednesday 13. Wednesday, welcome.
Woo! What's up? Hello, hello.
Good to see you again. And of course, the man of the hour, it was his birthday, and yet he plans the busiest event of the year. Here he is, Sean Clark.
Oh.
How are you, Sean?
Hey,
I'm dandy. Recovering.
One of you guys has the volume. It might be Sean.
Has what?
Someone has the volume. Someone have their... Someone's giving an echo.
It might be me. I don't have headphones.
That shouldn't matter.
If I bring this further away. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Let's take a listen. Yeah. I don't hear it anymore. That's perfect. Sean, I'm glad you could join us. You can take a minute away from counting our money and make an appearance.
I haven't even started counting the money.
Yeah, well, it's going to take you a few days. By Christmas, you should be ready. Anyway, Halloween 45. I think we should start, Sean, by you explaining to us how you got involved with the Halloween franchise. You've said it before on the show, but there might be new people watching.
I just got involved as a fan. And are you still hearing the echo?
A little bit.
Shit, sorry. But I just got involved as a fan, and I don't know if there's a way I can turn this. It sounds like it's me that's coming through, but I can't hear me through here, so I don't know what it is.
You probably hear us echoing.
No,
it's not terrible.
All right. Well,
what about me? What about me? What about me?
Wednesday, your
yeah, I started as a fan and somehow ended up getting involved in the making masks, and was kind of like the first guy to do a Myers mask that was actually from the Shatner mold. It was molded off an original. And I wonder if if I hit mute, you guys won't hear me. Never mind. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you. We're going to talk about it because you had quite the experience, I think, at this location, right?
Yeah, I did a couple times. But through the making the mask thing, I kind of got known in the Halloween community as the first guy who did like an independent. Well, there was a guy before me, Sam McCain, but I was kind of the one who brought it into the. I don't know. A lot of people didn't know his existed. I didn't even know about it 2 years later. But anyway, that's how I got my foot in the door and started to get known by Halloween people, and then going to the locations and making videos, and I would sell them on a website, like VHS copies of me going to filming locations. So kind of, been doing a long time, and it's just all through that weird shit. I kept walking through doors that kept opening, and somehow, I guess ultimately by bootlegging the franchise in a way, was invited officially.
Yeah, there was no trademark at that point as far as making masks and selling them on the side, and of course visiting locations was fair game. Most people watching probably know Sean from his series Horror's Hallowed Grounds, which definitely put you on the map because you did these things. First, you did them as a fan. You and I both said we had no idea that visiting locations would become a content. We've all probably did it on Wednesday as well. We went and visited our favorite spots. You started filming it. It started going onto the DVD as bonus footage, and so you became a big part in the world of Halloween. Now, when was the first Halloween convention?
The first Halloween convention was 2003. That was the 25th. And that was how I got involved with that. There was another guy, I guess it was originally his idea. He ran a little fan website, and he decided he wanted to try to put on a convention. So he hooked up with another friend he met online, and they were going to try to organize it together. I think they reached out to me to be a potential vendor or something to that effect. I can't remember how we actually got connected, but I started talking to them and started kind of questioning how it was going to happen. And I quickly realized they really didn't know what the hell they were doing. So I started saying, well, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And they knew I had a little bit of a name in the underground Halloween community. So I was just like, dude, I would totally help you guys. You want me to jump in on this? And, because they didn't seem to really know how conventions worked. And I'd been going to them since 1988, and I had vended at them. And I knew some promoters. So I think I was a little more in tune with how it should be run. So they brought me in as a partner. And this is early on. This is like a year before it happened. And then through that, we had the idea of, I don't remember whose idea it was specifically. Excuse me. But we had the idea of we should document this. We should document the event and maybe do something with the footage, a documentary or something. So at the event, we actually had a side room set up where we would take some of the guests in and sit them down and do interviews. And the idea was to do a documentary. And then from that, and a lawsuit, as I ended up having to sue them, we did the 25 Years of Terror documentary that Anchor Bay Entertainment put out. And that was actually my introduction. Well, I met the Trancas guys, Mustafa Qad and Malik, his son, because of the convention, because Mustafa came to the 25th. And then ultimately ended up interviewing him in his office for the documentary. Through that is how I got officially hooked up with the powers that be.
At that point, you weren't booking talent, though, right?
No, well, I was one of the key people in charge of gathering talent for the 25th convention, and so I learned how to do it, but I was not getting like a cut or anything. I wasn't like their agent. I just figured out how to reach out to them and how to get them involved.
Sean runs,
and then obviously doing it again through the documentary, we had to reach out to a lot more people. And then once I did kind of figure it out and was asked to represent somebody, I thought to myself, wow, I have this whole Rolodex of Halloween stars. Why don't I just start calling them and see if they want representation for conventions? And that's how it started. My entire lineup was literally Halloween people for the first 2 years.
And it's funny, Sean's talking about his business is called Convention All Stars, where he represents a lot of people from the Halloween franchise, but also Walking Dead as well, and a lot of other celebrities for signings and events. And this Halloween convention was sort of perfect. We've talked about it before. Your first client, I believe, was Tony Moran, who is the Michael Myers, who is unmasked. He's only in the movie for
sorry. Was I fading out?
But you sort of found him. I mean, you found a guy that was part of the Halloween mystery that no one knew where he was, and you interviewed him, and you explained to him. You're the first person to ever get him to sign Halloween memorabilia. You explained that there was interest. He wanted to try conventions, and he thought you should be his agent. You took it on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that he asked me because it started a whole new career for me. But obviously it wasn't the most pleasant experience and continues to be this weird sort of rivalry, I guess, a one-sided one. We
didn't see him this weekend.
Yeah, it's a shame.
He's the only Michael Myers that was not there, I believe, right?
Yeah, I guess when you physically threaten the guy putting on the show, it's not a good way to get in.
Probably not a good way.
Sean, how many Michael Myers are there? Just right off the top of your head, do you know? Like,
wow,
like a quiz.
I think we had like 23 in the photo op. So I know there was.
You would know, but like how many
of the ones missing that weren't there? 24, 25.
Are we counting
26, to see? 27, 28. I'm thinking I'm 28 right now, maybe total.
That's a lot. And that's including people who were kids who might not have worn the
kids,
mask, right?
Stunt guys. Yeah.
Oh, even stunt guys too. All right.
Yeah. I mean, there was guys there this weekend that literally, like, Cody Robinson was the guy that fell down the stairs in Halloween 2018 into the basement.
Sean,
Doug Tate was the guy that jumped off the SUV in Halloween Kills.
Sean, you were busy getting ready for your convention. So Wednesday, myself, Michelle, my friend Rachel, we were all discussing who do we want to sign what, and we had to really go through the list. And I had to say who's more important, and I said, Sean is the one who could help us, but we can't bother him because he's busy. And so Wednesday made the point. There's a few people that are basically boy holding pumpkin, and do you add boy holding pumpkin to your poster? It's tough. We had a lot of, and as you walk around the room, there was a few people that would puzzle us whether or not it's someone that you want to shell out money, and then there are people who are completists. Before we get to the beginning of the Wednesday and I's experience at the convention, you did your bus tour, and it was 6 buses. These are big, like Greyhound style buses.
Yeah, they hold 56 people each.
And you take them to the filming locations from all the different Halloween movies, including Rob Zombie.
Yeah, and other films that just happen to be right nearby. We did like Pee-wee's house from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. We did the house, Jim Carrey's house from Liar Liar, some of the Christine locations, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I mean, The Fog. There was a bunch of stuff.
If we're all alive for Halloween 50, Sean, Wednesday and I would like to be tour guides. So keep us in mind. We're putting our names in the hat early. It looks like an incredibly fun day. And a lot of people from out of town, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah. I'd have to say, I do conventions every weekend, pretty much. It's my life. And this particular show brings more people from out of state and out of the country than any convention I've been to. I met people from Sweden, Australia, London, Germany, New Zealand. One kid from South Korea blew my mind. Said he came all the way from South Korea by himself just to, come to the Halloween convention. And it's pretty crazy, man. I mean, it's, and I had nothing but rave reviews all weekend. People just thanking me for like the best convention they've ever been to. And I was blown away, man. I mean, we really got lucky that there was nothing really went wrong, really. I mean, a lot of running around, a lot of crazy stuff, but ultimately, no big problems. The tours went pretty smooth. I mean, considering the bus company totally fucked me at the 11th hour, and like they had the bus route. I don't know if I told you the story. They had the bus route since July 14th, and I had already paid for all the buses. Excuse me. Still getting over the COVID. Still trying to get it out. But don't worry, I wasn't contagious this weekend. I was a good 16 days past, but a week before the tour, they told me, "Oh yeah, here's a list of streets we just realized we can't drive down because of new ordinances in South Pasadena." And it was like most of them. I mean, we ended up walking a lot more than we should have. By the end of Friday, now that's bus tour and running around the convention, setting it up Friday night, I clocked myself at 15.3 miles on Friday. Something like 33,000 steps.
Yeah, you definitely got your steps in. You say there wasn't many problems. One thing on the bus tours, you go to the hospital from Halloween 2, which I believe I am sporting right now.
Yeah, which I've never done that before. I've been there, but I know it's a government property. It's a VA hospital. There is apparently no trespassing signs at the gate, but it doesn't say no trespassing. It says like ordinance numbers, which we don't know what the hell that means. But I knew I didn't ask for permission because 1,000% they would say no, and they would expect us coming. So I had people wanted me to host the tour. So we split the 6 buses into groups of 2. 2 go in that direction, 2 go in that direction, 2 go in this direction. My tour was an extra hour long, and the first location we went to was the hospital. So I just figured, and I told the fans up front, which I think made them excited because they felt like they were doing something bad, I said, we're just going to go. We're probably going to get kicked out, but let's just see as much as we can before we do. So I we pull in 2 giant buses in these tiny little streets driving through this hospital complex. And I kind of scoped it out through Google Earth and found a spot that I thought would be perfect for the buses to park that were right by the Halloween 2 hospital. And just around the corner was the exterior of the building used for Rob Zombie's Halloween for the Smiths Grove Sanitarium. So we pull up. As we're pulling up, I see a security guy in a cart stop and look at us. And I'm like, oh, shit, we're going to get fucking like caught before we even get off the bus, right? And we step off the bus. The guy looks at us and he just drives away. I think he just didn't want to deal with it. So I said Halloween 2 hospital first because that's the most important, right? I said, guys, get your pics quick. Don't get too close to the building. So we stayed there about 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, follow me. We're going to go hit up the Rob Zombie. We're walking by and we're taking pictures of this. I'm showing them in this one building on the way where they shot the scenes with young Michael in Rob's film where Malcolm McDowell is recording the sessions. I knew which building it was. And I said, see those windows? That's the room. We can't get inside, but it was right in there. And we walk around the corner. It's the entrance to Smiths Grove. And as we're getting right to the entrance, a cop car pulls up. Cop gets out and he's walking towards us. And at this point, I'm not really leading the pack. There's people ahead of me. And he starts talking to people. And I just walk right past him. So people are still following me. I get to the corner where the Smiths Grove sign was. And that's literally the last thing we needed to see. And the guy starts yelling for me. And then I walk over, talk to him, and explain what's going on. He was actually very cool.
Fancy.
He was actually very cool.
You gave him fancy talk, I believe is what they call it.
Yeah, I just said, look, I said, oh, hey, it's the big 45th anniversary. All these people are from out of the country, out of town. We're going to all the Halloween locations. These were used in the movie. And he's like, okay, this is government property. You can't just come in. I go, there's no trespassing signs or anything. He goes, there is. It's an ordinance. I understand you don't know what that means. I've told them they need to update it between you and me. They do nothing. He was very cool. He goes, look, I'm a fan of the movies too. He goes, I'm totally down for you guys taking pictures and seeing everything. But when a group like this shows up on a government property, he goes, we get called. And so he basically just, he lectured us for about 10 minutes. Which was really odd because I'm just like, well, we'll leave. And it's like, no, I want to explain this to you. And we're like, fuck. So anyway, we had to walk back. And on the way back, I noticed a couple spots I missed. So I'm pointing it out. People are taking their pics. And we got on the bus and got the hell out of there. It actually worked out exactly like I thought it would. Mm-hmm. But 2 cop cars pulled up and the 2 guys got out. And I'm just glad I didn't get cited. I think they kind of felt like, if I cite him, we have to cite everybody. I'm not going to cite 150 people, Yeah.
People from all over the world. It would have been a long day. So it sounded exciting, which I think, like you said, I think it made the people a little bit more into it. They had an experience. If people watch your Horror's Hallowed Grounds, Wednesday and I watch them, we know that it's exciting when you get yelled at or chased. It makes the episode a little better. Now, Wednesday and I took our own tour on Sunday night. I'm going to show pictures from that. We went to one location that no other fan has gone to, and we're going to show that one. And we're going to talk more about this convention. And Wednesday's sitting there quietly. For those not watching, if you've been under a rock, Wednesday's from the band, his band, the Murder Dolls. He's currently about to go on tour as Wednesday 13th for the first time performing the music of the Murder Dolls. Right, Wednesday?
Yes. It's the first time. It's 21 years of that band. And so this whole tour is just it's just themed with that. So we're just doing all the music from that those 2 albums, and people are excited because we really didn't tour in the States that much. Everything we did was outside of the States. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. When's that start?
October 20th starts at the Whiskey here in Los Angeles. Am I echoing?
Awesome. I'm hearing some echoing. I'm not sure where we're getting our echoing.
All right. Do I need to?
No one's really complaining. Maybe just turn your volume a little bit down. I'm thinking.
Is that any better?
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, but anyway, for everyone watching, I should point out we're going to get to the comments and questions. There's a lot of people. We got a lot to talk about. These guys were nice enough to give us their time for a little bit, and so we'll get to everything. And all these super chats that are coming in are going to pay off the debt that we owe Sean for all our memorabilia. We're going to show that as well. I've got my stuff handy. I don't know Wednesday if you already packed yours away.
The echoes.
I've got a whole show and tell.
I feel like I need to be like, stop it, stop it, stop it.
I have a show and tell of Halloween memorabilia. So we'll get to all that. So hopefully the convention rolls around. We met at the parking lot. It was in convention was in Pasadena, and Pasadena is Haddonfield. South Pasadena is. That's where the majority of the Halloween movies are filmed. And so we get there, and the first thing we see is a giant inflatable Michael Myers balloon. It looked like Michael Myers was in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. And we saw it. We were excited. We took pictures. And a few hours later, it was gone. Sean, what happened?
I never saw it. I know that we were fighting with the convention center about putting it up. I saw pictures of it, but I never personally saw it. I don't know what happened to it.
But the convention was responsible for it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the weather, or maybe that they were getting even with you for going to the VA hospital. But yeah, it was gone, and it was really one of the coolest things. I'll say first, as a fan of the Halloween movies and conventions, I've also been going for many years. This was such a niche thing to have a Halloween convention. Now, I know you've done them before, but when you go to conventions like Monster Palooza or things like that, it's all horror movies. It's a horror convention. Whereas this was really just Halloween movies. And yes, there was big actors who were in Halloween movies, but at this convention, people were there to see big stars. Wednesday and I were talking. We were thinking that Nick Castle and Dick Warlock should be like Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio, and they should get the respect in the Halloween world that they deserve. When we walked in, we were that was correct. Nick Castle had a line around the block like he was a Hollywood superstar, and in some ways he was. He just happened to have a mask on. So we decided that would be the first thing we do. We'll get on the we got to figure out who's echoing this. Hold on. They're thinking it's your speaker, so I could be wrong.
My shit is so low. I can barely hear you guys, so I doubt it's mine.
Wednesday, you talk a little bit.
Hello, hello.
It might be you, Wednesday. You rock and roll guys keep things so loud.
I don't know.
Hold on. I've got this thing here where I can edit your volumes, I think. Let's try it. Hold on. Everyone in the audience, talk amongst yourselves. Audio.
Yeah, I was starting to get confused. I'm like, what is happening?
In the audio settings, I have a thing on called echo cancellation. I don't know if you guys can do that.
Well, the noise went away.
Let's see. I have it on. It says podcasters and musicians often turn this off. Hold on. How does it sound now? We'll fix those. Guests. Okay, here we go. Right, nothing there. I mean, I think I can work through it. But I keep hearing myself too. Hold on. Looks all right. Looks all right. Hold on. Let me see if I can get into your stuff. Let's start with yours, Wednesday. Edit, Mike setting.
I hit some. I said a new feature. Cancel out background noise, but definitely echoing. Echo. Macho.
You know, Sean has a podcast called The Thing with Two Heads, and they don't have these kind of problems. Let's see.
The pros.
Hold on.
I'm gonna hit my mute button. See if this helps.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you sound fine, Wednesday.
Oh.
Yours sounds fine. What about Sean? Now, Sean muted himself.
So now
that makes me think Sean's is the problem.
The troublemaker.
Yeah.
I just don't have I'm just using whatever's in the computer. I don't have an external speaker, so maybe that's what's causing his to do that. If he's using a microphone, I don't know. That's what I meant.
Sean, do you know that you're muted right now?
Yes.
Yeah. I think what Sean is doing is he's. I think Sean is muting, and then when we ask a question, he unmutes.
I was saying I was saying, could you hear me when now I'm not muted, obviously, and now I'm going to mute myself.
You have no echo. Well, he didn't have an echo right there.
There's no
I
echo
think
now.
we don't hear Sean's voice echo. We hear me and Wednesday echo through Sean's monitors. So I think Sean's going to edit himself. Right, Wednesday?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, Sean is like the silent Marx brother all of a sudden, but he's here.
Cue cards would come in handy.
Yes. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the convention. Sean was busy. He runs the Horrors Hallowed Ground booth, and they had limited items. And we can start with the limited item. Everybody wanted to get the Tom Atkins Dr. Chalice figure. 1,000 were made. When we got there, Sean told us, I have mine here as well. Yeah. When we got there, Sean told us that
you lucked out. You got did you notice, or you didn't notice at first till we were just like looking at the number you got on yours? You got 666.
Well, I thought I got 666. And it turns out somebody at Horrors Hallowed Grounds, or the people who made it, put the sticker on upside down. I have 999.
I did that. I did that as a joke.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
I have 996. So together, if we mix it all up, we have 666 somehow.
999 is pretty cool though, because there's only 1,000 made. So there's only one more than this one. Now, Sean told us come back at the end of the day and he'd make sure we got them. There was 600 on one day, 400 next day. At the end of the day, we go back to see Sean, and he's running around. He's got to get a Michael Myers mask to a photo op. This is his busy day. This is the World Series and the Super Bowl rolled up in one, I think. And so he had a lot to do, and he didn't have time to dick around with us, which is understood. So we came back the next morning, and we were late because people realized you could sell these things on eBay. And that's what happened. There was a big secondary market. So everyone lined up to get more. So the ones that we got were run over by a bus. I don't know if it's the Horrors Hallowed Ground bus, but they definitely had seen. We got the scratch and dent sale, but that didn't stop us. We wanted it in our collection, and then we went and we got the great Tom Atkins to sign it. So this was a really cool collectible. So this happened on Sunday. On the first day,
although when we were packing up, right?
You found more.
Somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, there's 2 boxes in the back office that say hold for Nate on it. Do you know?" And I said, "Well, what are they?" They said the Atkins figures. Now, Nathan Hanneman, who runs Whorehound, asked me to put aside a case for him of 8 because he had friends back home in Cincinnati that he was getting them for. So, obviously he's the co-showrunner. I'm gonna do that for him. He paid for him. Actually, come to think of it, he hasn't paid me yet. I'm gonna have to see. I'll see him tomorrow. But anyway, so somebody says there's 2 boxes because I was wondering. I still had some stickers left, and I'm like, what happened to these figures? Well, I put aside a box for him, and so did someone else. I ended up with an extra box of 8 figures. So I was like, well, what should I do with these? And so I talked to Tom about it, and I told him how they were selling on eBay, signed for like $699. I said, how about we undermine some of those scalpers? You sign these, and I'll sell all 8 on my Facebook page for $200 a pop, just so we can fuck with them a little bit. And he said, okay. So he signed them, and that's probably what I'm going to do soon.
Wednesday, we saw those 8 get signed right in front of us. You remember?
Oh, I know. We were going, man, if we could just maybe distract that guy, and then we'll do the old switch and bait thing.
we'll put our kicked and dented in with the good ones, and then no one will
Yeah.
know the difference. We didn't know they were actually Sean's figures that he was selling, at a fair price, a very fair price, because you have to
Yeah.
buy the figure and then you have to get it signed. It's not an easy thing. So first day there, Rachel and Michelle. Michelle is not so interested in it, the Halloween world. She has her own interests. Rachel's into it, and me and Wednesday are nuts about it. So we said hello to Sean, and we go in, and we decided the first thing to do is get online for Nick Castle. And I've seen Nick Castle at conventions before that Sean brings him to, and it's exciting. But I got to tell you, this was like no convention I'd ever seen. The line was long. I'm going to show some pictures of the convention. Some of them are me with the guests, some are Wednesday. But we're going to start right now with Nick Castle. For those of you who are watching, if you're watching this, I feel like you got to know your Halloween. But here I am with Nick Castle. Did it pop up? There it is. Yeah. I realized the bag that I'm holding, that is my everyday bag now. I carry my insulin and whatever other things I need. I realized that that's a Halloween 2 bag, though. Right, Sean?
I mean, I don't know that bag. I mean, does it have the trademark for Halloween 2 on it?
Yeah. On the label, it says but it looks, I mean, I can't tell by looking at it.
Yeah, but you have the
Yeah, I
Halloween
mean, it
shirt on, though, so.
What's that?
I said he has the Halloween 1 shirt on, so even if it still works out.
Canceled out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's, that's the one thing is Trancas owns Halloween 1. Universal owns Halloween 2. So Universal cranks out a lot of stuff that looks like part 1, using the part 2 license. So
Got it. I was wondering that. That was a question I've wondered a while. Why do certain things say Halloween 2? I'll show some Nick Castle memorabilia first. So right here I have, this is called a Pop Town, a Funko Pop Town. This is a big pain in the ass to bring with you to a convention. You have to fold it up, and it's hard to see right now, but that's signed by Nick Castle, the shape. And then after that, what else do I have? Oh, this is the VHS glow in the dark version. And again, it's hard to see these on here, but I got that signed. And then of course I got this is the blacklight version. You have to have that. And then I've got pretty much every Funko Pop Halloween. This is going to have a bad glare, but this poster now has got a lot of people on it. I'm almost ready to call it done. It doesn't have Boy with Pumpkin, but it's getting there. And so okay, so I got that.
all right, who do you consider to be Boy with Pumpkin? Who are you talking about?
Wednesday. I think we're confused between two people. Only one really had the pumpkin. One is Mickey Yablons, right? And then
well, they didn't have the pumpkin. They tripped Brian Andrews, who had the pumpkin. They were the bullies.
I think we might have labeled him Boy with Pumpkin as well.
Yeah.
Right, Wednesday?
Well, Mickey Yablons is Erwin Yablon's son, and Erwin produced Halloween. And then Brett LePage, this was his first convention ever. I really, really, really did a number on him, bugging the shit out of him to do this convention. I finally tracked him down. And, what I think is so great about Brent is that he is the guy that delivers the famous line. He goes, don't you know what happens on Halloween? And he goes, the boogeyman's going to get you, he's going to get you. He's going to get you. So, I mean, and he could sign Rob Zombie albums too, I guess. Right.
Yeah. I was going to say that. Yeah.
Or White Zombie. That's a White Zombie song, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right.
So some of these guys, as you said, it was their first convention. And I think everybody seemed to do really well. And I think they all really enjoyed the experience. Did you feel that way also?
Oh, for sure. Like the two ladies who were the nurses from the TV version, I didn't know how they'd do. I really didn't. A lot of times with this stuff, I'm a fan. So I'm like, fuck it. I don't care if anybody else gives a shit. I'm getting my shit signed, and they'll be like, well, we tried, but they actually did great, and they want to do more. I don't know if there's going to be much of a demand for TV version nurse, but they had a blast. And pretty much everybody that does it gets the bug and wants to do more. Where's the downside with people telling you how much they love you and giving you money? Come on.
It's great. I would tell you that conventions are a big thing now. In a lot of ways, nerds have won. The nerds have won. People, and that includes us. It's so great to
Yeah,
be at
sure.
these things. Everybody was really cool. Obviously, Wednesday has a lot of fans who recognize him. People brought their records. They knew he was there. I had fans who watched the show, some nice enough to bring me Universal Monster lottery tickets. I should start asking for bars of solid gold. Maybe people will bring me that too. But people are just so nice, and there is a community, and it really is great to see these people. Wednesday, think of some of the actors that we were talking about that we wanted to see Sean bring. Sean, I've got a couple that I got to ask you about. First, the one is Judith Meyer's boyfriend, and the guy in the first scene of the movie. Where is
David Kyle? I had him at the 40th. It's the one and only convention he ever did.
Mm-hmm.
He was a weirdo, and he didn't seem to dig it at all.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I wish I was at that one.
Well, the one question I asked, and I think Jason, you figured it out because you texted me it yesterday. We were just standing in line because we had a lot of time to talk because we were in line for hours on the first, which was cool. You know, it was just either way. And we were just realizing how much we geeked out on the movies and how much we quoted it. And I did the quote of, Harold, you want mayonnaise on your sandwich? And I was like, where's that
mustard?
Yeah. So I figured that lady she had to be dead and
long dead.
We found a fan who posted pictures at her grave. He visits her grave at Halloween. And
I think she died in 1984.
Yeah, it's been a long.
Wow, she did.
It's been a long time. Wednesday makes a good point, though. You stand on these lines and you get to know people around you, and you get to have these random conversations. When we first went, I didn't know if Wednesday was going to be, I'm going to stand online for 2 hours, but you were definitely game and a fan, and it's fun. Calico Cooper of Bisto Blanco, and who's a good, and of course she's Alice Cooper's daughter, a good friend of yours, Wednesday. She also stayed online with us and chatted away, and everybody was having a good time talking.
Yeah, and she had a deleted scene in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
So she was kidding about when I was like, "Hey, I'm hanging out up here," because she lives in the area, and she was just she was joking around. She's like, "Hey, do they have a table for all the people that was cut out, deleted scenes?" So
I told her, you should call your father and say, listen, you tell Rob Zombie you taught him everything he knows. How dare he cut me out of the movie? But okay, now let's look at some more. We're jumping around, but I don't want to keep you guys all night. But this is this right here. It's a little small, but you can see that's Dick Warlock. He's probably the oldest living Michael Myers, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I added him to my Funko Pop collection. The goal was to get all of the Michael Myers on a Funko Pop.
And this is a photo of Jason getting Dick.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't think of it quite like that, but it is true. And it was great. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, Sean. He loves the ladies. He is quite the flirtatious fella.
Yep.
He enjoyed meeting.
He was nice to me, and then he realized I was a guy, and then he was kind of like, "All right, get out." But it was all right. I had a couple of seconds with him,
Before, yeah, I was thinking that too. But he was the ladies' man, and he was great, and he was one of the people I was most excited to meet. This is Tom Morga, and this is Halloween 4. There is no Michael Myers in Halloween 3. So we skipped to, I forgot Tommy Lee Wallace. I didn't include him in my slideshow, but Tommy Lee Wallace is Michael Myers in the closet scene in the first movie, right, Sean?
And a few others, yeah. He did the smashing through the door, going into the kitchen after Jamie. He also did the scene where he slashes her arm before she falls down the stairs.
Those are pretty big moments in the movie, so he definitely deserves a Funko Pop sign. And then there's my Tom Morga. Now, he was in the beginning of the movie. He wears the bandages, things like that. He puts the gun through the person, but I believe he was fired, right?
Yeah, he did more than just the bandages scene. He did all the bandages stuff. He did the scene in the drugstore when he puts on the mask and Jamie backs into the glass mirror and it breaks. And then he did the scene sitting in the chair with the shotgun, and he gets up and he impales Kathleen Kinmont. Everything else was George. It's weird. When he tells me the story, he never was told he was fired. He just said they told him, okay, you're done. And, he went home not really knowing what was going on. And, they replaced him with George Wilbur, which ironically, then George Wilbur got replaced in part 6, by A. Michael Lerner. So.
Yeah, and George Wilbur has passed away, or he would have been there. He's been at other shows, obviously.
He was at every other one we've ever done. George was there. In fact, his last convention he ever did was H40.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, and here is Don Shanks. This is part 5. Listen, we're all Halloween fans. We talked about how we all saw Halloween movies for the first time. 5 is where I start to get out. Maybe a lot of people do as well. 6, 7, 8, not so much for me. 4, though, was the first one that I was able to see in the theater. So I was sort of invested into that plot line and Daniel Harris and all those things. And 5 as well. I have a tough time, but I do respect these guys for playing. It's not their faults. I personally don't collect any Rob Zombie. I told Anthony and Michael Hall, who's at his table, all he had was Halloween and Johnny Be Good, which
I made a joke about. I was like, oh, I should have brought my Johnny Be Good VHS, and he had 8x10s, but no Weird Science or anything.
We went up to him. Now, I have him on most of my vacation collectibles, and I told him that evil doesn't die tonight for me. I don't know about you in these Halloween movies. I know Edna dies tonight from Aunt Edna, that is. And so I had him sign a 16 Candles Funko Pop. Yes, and he was very cool. It's funny, at another convention, maybe he would have been a centerpiece, and he does a lot of these. But at this convention, if you didn't wear a mask, you probably weren't the centerpiece.
Well, it also didn't help that he didn't have a banner.
Yeah, he didn't have a banner, and if he would have had Breakfast Club and Weird Science, obviously convention fans love all movies. Wednesday, what was the movie you wanted to get him to sign?
The movie Six Pack with Kenny Rogers and Aaron Gray. And when I mentioned that to him, he was like, that was my first movie. Like, it just took him back. Like, he hadn't thought about that in forever. But yeah, he was by himself, and I was geeking out looking at him from the line, and I was like, let's go walk over to him. And he was just hanging out on his phone, like jamming like the Doobie Brothers or something.
Yeah.
I always tell my clients, bring everything to every show, because there's going to be fans of all your movies there. I mean, like Lance Guest always says, well, should I bring Last Starfighter to Halloween conventions? Like, bring Last Starfighter. People are going to buy it,
Here's a question, Sean, because we had a lot of time to talk and we were standing in line. And once we get up to the table, so we're waiting in line forever for Nick Castle. And I walked up a couple times just to check out, see what photos and stuff he has. And I go check it out, and I come back to Jason, and I'm like, he's got a lot of cool stuff, but he's got like Major Pain like right beside of him. Like, why wouldn't he have the Michael Myers stuff? But like, it was like Major Pain. Like, he wanted people to know that he did that.
Has he ever sold one, Sean? Has he ever sold a Major Pain 8x10?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few. And Dennis the Menace and The Boy Who Could Fly. And the funny thing is, people come up and they look at the banner and they see those movies and they're like, well, who are you in The Boy Who Could Fly? And he's like, I directed it. Right. It's like, he's a writer, he's a director. He co-wrote Escape from New York with John Carpenter. He wrote Hook, the Spielberg movie. I mean, he's the thing that, he didn't think was a big deal was putting a mask on for his buddy John and walking around in this movie. That was a favor, It took me forever to convince him to do a convention. So, and he tells the story that I tricked him. So I brought him to Monster Mania for a Last Starfighter reunion. which he
You
agreed to
warned
do. And I said, well, people are going to bring Halloween stuff. So he's like, that's fine. I'm like, okay.
it was 99% Halloween stuff is what happened, right? Yeah. And we're glad that you convinced him, tricked him, whatever you had to do. We're glad because I've said this a million times that of all the monsters, Michael Myers might be one of my favorites of all time. And Nick Castle is the guy that sits up and turns his head. He's the guy who drives the car. He is the guy that we all grew up watching. And it's so great. And I told this to him. He's heard it a million times. But it's so great that he's there and we get to celebrate this character that we all love so much. So this is all Saturday, and pretty much our whole day was spent between Nick and Dick, if you will.
Yep.
Hope the censors. I hope the
Fun with
censors-
Nick and Dick.
That was our day, and if that would have been the end, it was worth it. But we all had things to do, places to go, people to see. I was going to Universal Studios Hollywood that night, and to wait on more lines. Except there was no old man to sign anything for me at the end of the line. It was not nearly as fun. So we made the decision that we'll come back the next day and we'll start early and we'll try it again. And so the next day we got there, and the first thing we had to do was we had to get online for the great Tom Atkins, which was also a long line. What a cool guy. He stood up for every single person. He's 82, right? 83 maybe? 83 years old. 84 years old. He stood up to talk to every single person. He couldn't be nicer. I got this signed by him and Stacy Melkin and Tommy Lee Wallace. While we were standing on line, we couldn't help but think of all the people's racks that we have seen. I know that I'm taking this otherwise classy show and making it blue, but you look at Adrienne Barbeau and you look at PJ Souls and you look at Stacy Melkin and you think of all these women that as younger men we watched in these movies. Younger men yesterday.
Sandy Johnson, Kathleen Kenmont.
Two very good examples. Yeah, absolutely. It's a teenage boy who's who of beautiful women. And so we spent our time on that line, and that's when we decided we had to get the action figures, right, Wednesday?
Yeah. The longer we stayed there, or at least for me, the more stuff I was going to keep buying. And then I ran out of cash. And then I'm like, all right. And then luckily, the ATM, finally ran out of cash, which was a good thing. But not before we spent and bought all of this stuff.
There's the PJ Souls signed figure. Sean has 10% of that. There's Michael Myers. I couldn't get back on the Nick Castle line, so that has to wait.
Yeah.
Nancy Loomis, who's sort of new to these shows, to my knowledge, which it was exciting to see her. We got her. No, she's been doing them? Okay.
Been doing them a long time. It's the first, I think it might be her first Halloween convention. It's kind of a long story, but her agent, let's just say, I guess I'm friendly to him, yeah, but we're competitors technically, I guess. And he's purposely kept her out of the show. And anyway, finally came around, was kind enough to bring her. And he also represents Malcolm McDowell. So that's why Malcolm was there. And so hopefully she'll be attending future ones.
Yeah, that would be great because she obviously this is a show where everybody knows her and cares about her, and seeing her and PJ next to each other, you had it set up really cool. The Halloween 78 people are in one row, you get the Halloween 2 people, the movies are divided, and then outside you have all the other people, you have the Rob Zombie people, and like I said, Wednesday night we were like kids in a candy store buying things and meeting all these really nice people and seeing people that we never thought we'd have the chance to meet. That night, you had an event at the Buccaneer Bar with Tom. You don't rest. Friday night, you're out on bus tours, getting chased around by the VA and the police. There's the Buccaneer glass right there, yeah. And then Saturday, they had an after party at the thing, and then which was Saturday was your birthday as well. Happy birthday! And then Sunday, you did the that event. And there was the rumor that maybe Jamie Lee Curtis would show up. This was the big talk. People drove you crazy. I mean, for the last 3-4 months, everyone asked you, where's Jamie Lee Curtis? You were responsible for Jamie Lee Curtis's only appearance, so I believe. And at this point, and that money went to charity. So at this point, people expected you to be the one to get her. She was not there. What happened?
She was going to be there. It was all set. And about 3 days before the show, she canceled. I have my own theories. It was her publicist that I believe just wanted to squash it. But, you know, that's just my opinion. I mean, the excuse was the SAG strike. But
right.
I know for a fact that
yeah.
I know for a fact she could have done it. Based on my conversations directly with the head of SAG. I've done Zoom calls with him, and we went over all the do's and don'ts of all the convention stuff. And he told us it was fine. But her publicist said she spoke directly to someone at SAG that said they were upset that she was even considering it. Take that for what it's worth. She was lined up. It was supposed to be her and Carpenter doing the panel on Sunday at 4, and you know, whatever. It is what it is. I appreciate that she even considered it, but you know, you know, at least she wasn't announced, and fans weren't disappointed. You know, it was going to be a surprise, but obviously the rumors were flying because people knew within our organization that she was coming, so people would talk, and then it starts to spread. You know.
Yeah. And everyone in that room, 90% of the guests are in the Screen Actors Guild, and people did know the rules to what you could do.
How did that happen?
Yeah, they could all show up, but she didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, and look, I'm not going to keep you guys too much longer. I do want to talk about the houses that Wednesday and I went to, and I want to show them.
I have all the time in the world. I have nothing.
I'm in no rush.
Okay.
No rush.
And then we'll answer some people's questions too, because I don't usually ignore the chat, but there's so many people, and we'll get to as much of that as we can. So at the end of the day, Sean did tell us that John Carpenter was over at Nick Castle's booth. I think and we all think John Carpenter should have sat down and signed autographs. It's not something he doesn't do. He's appeared at many conventions where he sits and signs autographs. He could have sat there and charged $100, and the amount that he would have signed, every single person, he could have done it morning and night and promoted his comic book that he does basically free signings for and other things. He chose not to. Did he give you a reason, Sean? And I don't want to put you on the spot. There's other business behind the scenes on this as well. John was there. He did a panel. Nick moderated the panel.
He just didn't want to.
He sat.
I mean, it's weird. I feel kind of like, I mean, I've been doing this since the 25th. We've never gotten him there. And I feel, I don't know what the reason behind is, because like you said, he does conventions. I think he thought it was going to be cheesy. I think he thought it wasn't going to be a good convention like the ones he goes to. I think he was very shocked when he walked in and saw how big it was and how legit it was. Something tells me if he's still around in 5 years that he'll do it the right way, because I can tell you right now, he would have made more fucking money this weekend than any other convention he's ever done, ever. And he only would have had to drive down the street to come to it.
Yeah, Jason and I both talked about that. We had time to sit in the line and do the math, like going, all right, what do you think this guy's making, this dude's making? And Nick Castle just had the continuous line. I never saw it go away.
No.
It never went away. So can you imagine what John Carpenter would have had and what he could have charged? He could have said whatever price. People did not care. And it's unfortunate that he thinks that way. You know, I mean, I probably would have paid whatever too. Cool, sign my records. You know, like it's just weird that he would not want to do that. But it was cool to be him walking around. We were in his presence for a little bit, so you know.
And he wouldn't sign for anyone. Like when we had him in the back in the green room before going on stage, he wouldn't sign for staff. Like, hey, would you mind? And you know, out of the sight of anybody. Nope, shut everybody down. Everybody.
Yeah, he could have made a fortune. Wednesday, you talk about us talking about how much everybody made. Michelle and I at Universal Studios were waiting for a ride or something, and I looked in the air and I said, "How much money do you think Sean Clark made today?" And then I threw out guesstimates, which I won't say publicly. That's between Sean and the taxman.
Well, I will say this. I guarantee you I spent more money this weekend than any other person in the entire room.
Yeah, well, and you really believe in, it's great to see people who are fans succeed at these things. It's great to see people who really believe it, not just some asshole who came in and invested. Obviously, Sean is passionate about this. At Wednesday, the same with you and your music and your career. It's great to see people succeed at things that they believe in, not just somebody who goes, "Oh, I'm going to license the rights to this." So I got to say, when we're talking about the money of it, Sean, I credit you for this. Most of the guests had very fair pricing. I go to conventions constantly, and a lot of people are out of their minds. Cousin Eddie, for example, Cousin Eddie is $100 to sign, and then you want your name on it, which that should be free because once your name's on it, you can't sell it anymore. It has no resale value. That's another 40 or 50. You want them to write shitters full, that's another 40 or 50. You want a picture with them, that's another. And nowadays at some of these conventions, you go and you look at their price list, and it's almost like you better be good at math because there's so many upcharges and menus. And well, I'll take a combo on this and maybe a little bit of that and a side of this. And Sean and I have talked about this on the show. If you have a reasonable price, people will buy more. If you have a high price, maybe they'll take one and walk. I saw Susan Sarandon. It was her first convention ever in Chicago, and it was very unusual. She was in her own private little tent. No one really knew she was in there, and she was behind like a bank teller window, and you'd slide your item under it, and it was very odd. And then there's all these kind of strange pricings, and as you walk through those conventions, when you meet somebody who's nice or appreciative, even if they're just acting appreciative, it means more to you as a fan going to the show, and it certainly makes you want to buy more things. Nick Castle signed a stack of things for me, because it was fair. And Sean, one of the policies that I think was for almost all your guests was that taking a picture with them was free. It came with the purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I at the end of the day, they are my boss. I work for them. I can only suggest to them what I think they should charge. And like I'll give you an example. I'm not going to say who it was, but there was a client. It was my first show working with her this weekend. I had made the price sign and I said, "This is what I think you should charge." I came back. She'd completely changed it, upped it, added an extra thing for a photo with her. I'm looking at it, seeing her sitting there with no line in front of her. And I'm thinking, had she listened to me, she'd be making more money. It's, what can you do? I mean, there's certain people, like obviously I'm doing my first show with Ozzy in 2 weeks. And, a guy like that, yes, you have to upcharge for signing a guitar or a microphone or, because there are those guys that are just going to throw them up on eBay and try to sell them for 5 times the price. And I don't personally like doing it, but I understand in those situations with guys like that are of that size of a celebrity where you have to do it, Also,
Yes.
because if you had them priced super cheap, they could never get through everybody. It's impossible,
That's why things like meet and greets, and Wednesday has a meet and greet, an affordable meet and greet on his tour. It's not possible to meet every single person anymore. If you did that, your whole day would be spent meeting and greeting. So by giving people something that comes with it or a package and things like that, it balances out. I'm sure everyone would love to be able to get something for free. This world of collecting, everyone has a cell phone now. It's a whole new thing. People know the value. It's not like when Sean and I went to the Beverly Garland and you could get a stack of Don Knotts autographs for $10 a piece, or Dan O'Hurley from Halloween 3, which Sean and I both got when we were much younger. I looked at my Halloween 3 poster and I looked at the names and I said, well, I've already met Dan. I just need these 3, and I think this poster is ready to be hung on the wall. So there is a business to collecting as well. But and we did see the actress you're talking about. We won't name her as well. Wednesday, she was right by us when we were waiting for Dick Warlock, and we were puzzled as well because we didn't really remember her. And she was an attractive woman, and I think some people like to take pictures with attractive people.
Yeah,
That's not the one I was talking about, but she also, it was her first show ever. She's not my client, the one you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggested to her the price, and then I heard she changed it after she told me, yeah, I'll do that. I don't care either way. She's not my client.
Right.
But but then I walked by later and saw she had changed it, and I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Whatever. Live and learn.
At the convention, where Nick Castle really is the top. He's Michael Myers. He is Michael Myers. Anyone who's charging more than him is probably foolish. Or some, listen, Adrian Barbeau is somebody like that, or Malcolm McDowell. These are superstars in their own right outside the Halloween franchise. But most of the people, well, I think Dick and Nick, which is Michael Myers 1 and 2, the ones that we've watched our whole lives on TV, they were $60 a piece, and that came with the photo, and then you could also take a picture with them. They were incredibly friendly, and I mean, Wednesday we were like kids, right? It was fun.
Yeah, dude, the whole weekend was just like I was telling my lady about it. It's just like I'm still smiling from it. So I know everybody that attended that had a good time. Like whenever I think we were talking to you about it before you left, Sean. We were like about the first time that we saw Halloween 4, and just how cool that was to see a Halloween movie in the theater, and then to go to a convention and just have it surrounding you, and everybody was in a good mood. I mean, it was the best way to kick off October to get you in the mood for Halloween, because there's been those years where you're like, I'm just not in the mood this year, it kind of sucks. But I'm like, what can I do? How many more times can I watch Season of the Witch? It's just I'm just starting. We're a few days in, so it was a good thing. You could just feel it. There was nobody in a bad mood. Everybody was just excited. You did a good thing.
It was such.
Thank you.
It was such a success that, to be honest, I kept thinking, why do we have to wait for Halloween 50? What is the chance that this becomes an annual or semi-annual event? A lot of those people are not, maybe not going to be around, where everyone's getting older. What do you think, Sean? We're going to have to wait to 50 to see our favorite people again? This is like a Halloween tradition, I think.
No. You're not. Yeah, ain't happening. If you want to see any of those other people, go to another convention and see them, because I ain't doing this shit every year. That's for sure. I mean, hey, I love the fact that you guys had a great time. The response has been phenomenal. I mean, I'm still going through messages from fans saying how it was the greatest weekend and how grateful they are. And I mean, it really, I'm not just saying this, it really warms my heart and makes it worth it, all the hard work, I will say this. All weekend I was saying, fuck H50. I don't want to do it. And if I do, it's the last one I ever do. I had such a positive experience this weekend, and just so much positive energy, that literally today I was thinking, I want to start planning H50 now. Let's get fucking 5 years ahead of it. I've actually already purchased the domain h50.com.
Smart.
It was available and I bought it. So, it's, that's going to be it though. I'll be 58 when H50 rolls around. I can't see myself still putting on the convention at 63, killing myself. And plus, where do you go? H55, I never say never, but if you were going to end it, H50 is the one to end it at. And like you said, who's going to be left? I don't know.
Nobody. If you want to be morbid, you could start a death poll.
Boy with Pumpkin is going to be a superstar, though, at that point, because everyone else, he's going to
be the last remaining cast member.
I was
I mean-
excited, by the way, to meet Will Sandon and people like that. Michael Myers, age 6. To me, all of that is cool. You know, Sandy Johnson, all of those people, part of that movie was cool in one place. Sean, I liked it what you said, though. And maybe at the Halloween season, you'll book some of these people at other conventions, at other horror conventions. So we at least get to have the experience of meeting these actors. Dick Warlock, he retired once before from the convention scene. He told you he'd come back and do a few. Do you think he'll do more?
Yes, we talked about it this weekend. He said, I think I want to just kind of do maybe one a year, which means that there ain't going to be too many left. He does this all the time, though. He flip-flops. So I could see him, you know, maybe just doing a couple next year. But back to your death pool. Who do you got? Who do you got? Who do you got next? I got mine. I got mine.
I'm not trying to be morbid about it, but we had a lot of time to talk, and we were like, all right, well, how much money are they making? All right, well, how much longer do they got? You know, it was just like, we're looking at Tom Atkins, who we were there waiting in line for, but we were like going, how old is he? You said, how old is Tom Atkins?
84.
84. So Halloween 50. Do the math. So yeah, like what's
he looked good? He looked good though. He looked pretty.
He looked great. He looked great. But when I got up to Tom, you could tell he was tired. He was like asking. He goes, "I need candy. I need candy." And he took a whole baby Ruth and put it in his mouth. So when I did the photo op, I'm talking to him, and he's just going.
I think he's pretty. He could be one of those guys who gets very old but stays alive because he seems sharp.
Yeah,
he's very sharp, and he's got a ton of energy for his age. I mean, look, he did that whole convention, and then at 9 p.m. we went to the fucking Buccaneer, and he entertained the fans to midnight. And he's, and he turned around as we were leaving and said, "See you in 5 years."
I think he'll make it. My vote is he'll make it. I don't know about Dick Warlock.
Dick Warlock looks like he's been through a lot. He was a stunt man, and I think he really enjoyed seeing the fans, and I think he really enjoyed the young ladies. And we talked about this, and Sean probably hears this all the time. Some of these actors must have been thinking, "What took so long? Halloween 3 is a cult classic. I could have been making this kind of money all these years." A lot of these people never could have thought, I'm going to be at a convention and it's going to be a big deal. I mean, a lot of them were forgotten, right, Sean?
Yeah,
absolutely. My money, I hate to say it, my money is on Charles Cyphers.
No, I'm sorry. He isn't that. I would have to agree. Sean, maybe you have he canceled. He loves conventions. This was to be the biggest one for him. He had some health issues. Do we know any more?
We were told by his manager that he had a health issue that his doctors recommended him not to fly. But the weekend before our show, he was supposed to attend another convention that I know for a fact is driving distance from him, and he canceled that one. So I think it's more serious than they're letting on.
As soon as I saw it, I said, if he's not here, he's not well, because he another person who loves doing this. I saw him here in Vegas. He did an appearance with Nancy Loomis, and I was excited to see him. I was glad that I already had him on all my stuff, because I feel like, we're definitely not going to see him in Hollywood, Halloween 50. So yeah, I think that, but even John Carpenter's getting up there. I mean, everybody, none of us are getting younger.
But that's what made it cool waiting in line to meet these guys and going, you know what, if we got to wait 3 hours, this guy might not, like, it was just, that's what was cool about it, so yeah, I don't know who would be around it. And once those guys are gone, I don't really have any interest in after part 5. I mean, I've watched the series, I like the character, but you know what I mean? Like, once those guys are gone, I'm not really as interested in it.
You'll be getting Boy with Pumpkin at that point.
Paul Rudd wasn't there. Was he invited?
No, he wasn't. I mean, come on. He ain't coming to this.
He'd sign Ant-Man all weekend.
Yeah, that's right. You'd have to trick them, tell them it's an Ant-Man convention, and then
Yeah.
maybe people would ask to sign Halloween. What is he, 6? I think it's
6.
Yeah, that's the worst. Is that the worst
Tommy
one?
Doyle.
Yeah. By the way, where was Tommy Doyle, the original Tommy Doyle? That's another one.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with what he did online when Halloween Kills came out, but basically he shit all over the movie and was bad mouthing the franchise and Anthony Michael Hall and all this stuff. And it's kind of a strange situation. He has some issues, you know. And he reached out and asked to attend, and I had to run it by Trancas, and they said he's not invited. You know, I mean, you badmouth their movie, you publicly bash them, and then you ask to come to their event. I mean, come on. And he understood. He was very cool about it. He goes, I totally understand. And they even said, you know, we'll see where we're at in 5 years. Maybe we'll have you at the next one.
Would you book
But
him
he's been to every one prior.
Would you book him for another event? Because a lot of people probably need him to sign their things now.
No, I won't work with him. I used to a long time ago. You know, he's also had issues at other shows because of his behavior, and he's just not somebody. You know, he's a nice guy. He's just got issues, man, and I just don't need to deal with it. It's not. I've got more stuff going on. I don't need to deal with drama.
Got it. That's why we all badmouth Halloween Kills privately at home and don't tell anybody, because we want to keep it.
Exactly.
I like Halloween Kills.
Well, out of the last 3, I will tell you that I didn't get James Jude Courtney to sign a pop, but I will. I think he was the Michael Myers in 3 movies. I like those movies better than the Rob Zombie. Just to be full geeks, let's go around and say what we thought in the order of the last 3. I like the first one, the third one, and the second one is the one I like the least. Wednesday?
I will say the first one was the best of that one. I didn't like the second one. I hated the third one, but the third one is my favorite because the night that it came out, we were on tour. We had a day off. We were in Iowa, and we looked, and they were showing the new Halloween, and we got tickets, and there was no one in the theater but my band. So we literally had felt like a private screening of it. So we could literally laugh at it and go, "Oh, this is terrible." You know what I mean? Like we could literally just bash it, and we had the best time. And so it was kind of fun in that way. But yeah, I was waiting for something good to happen, and it just didn't happen.
Well, the end of the second one, I got to tell you, I wanted Michael Myers to kill everybody, including Jamie Lee Curtis. Everyone had to go. I couldn't stand it.
I will say this: the beginning of part 2, when it starts off, isn't that start off with the alley from like the original part 2 movie, where they did the CGI of Dr. Loomis? Is that the one?
It wasn't CGI. That was all practical makeup.
Okay, right. Either way,
that
that looked amazing, and I was so into it, and then they didn't go do it anymore. So
practical makeup effects by Academy Award winner Christopher Nelson, co-host of the Thing with Two Heads podcast.
Yeah, well, he was at the show as well.
I applaud him. It looked that good.
No, he's gonna.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Tom Jones Jr., who played Dr. Loomis at the show, but he looks a lot like him. He just, added some features.
There was so much that we probably didn't see. There was a lot going on. You know how it is, but yeah.
That's the craziest thing, Wednesday. There was so much stuff that we never got to see. There's people, I had friends there that I actually didn't run into because it was just so much to do and so cool. And it did feel like a sort of once in a lifetime experience. I mean, it felt like something kind of crazy that we all have this one crazy movie that we grew up watching. We all had a story about seeing it on TV, or Sean's case, the drive-in through the back of his parents' car. We all had a story. Sean, I'm not going to let you off the hook. Rate those 3 Halloween movies.
I go in order 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like 3. For some reason, there was I didn't think it was a great movie, but there was a little more nostalgia. I wish those Cobra Kai guys would have made the Halloween movie instead. I thought that maybe somebody who likes to give fan service. I didn't think they did the best job.
Here's
family.
my thing. I actually think Halloween Ends isn't a bad movie. Upon reviews, you watch it again. It's actually a very well made film. It's just not how I would have finished the franchise. You
Right.
know, I
Yeah,
think
that's what I felt.
the big mistake was making Michael weak. Nobody wants to see Michael weak.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the big mistake in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yes.
agree more. I think that was, and I thought that young guy, and he was at the show. Maybe his first appearance. His name was Connor something or other. I thought he
Rowan
was a
Campbell, yeah,
star. Yeah.
I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He's a great actor, and I'll tell you what, he had one of the biggest lines of the weekend. Him, James Jude Courtney, Dick Warlock, Nick Castle, probably Daniel Harris, and Tom Atkins. Those were the biggest lines of the weekend.
They were
Sean,
fresh in people's minds.
here's a question, like, because I was, again, one of our many conversations about Halloween and ideas, like, what if they did this or what if they did this? Has anybody ever tried to mix Michael Myers with the Season of the Witch movie? Like, would Michael Myers, like, or a script or any storyline that you know of, that someone like, oh, the Season of the Witch mask and wear the pumpkin or something, you know?
Well, they used those masks in all three films,
Right. I saw
but there was an alternate ending to Halloween Ends that I actually was going to be in. And then they scrapped it. The original ending was going to take place in the Silver Shamrock Novelties factory, and you would see people, I was going to be one of them, basically boxing Myers masks, and you'd see them coming off the assembly line.
See,
so
that right there just give me kind of goosebumps. That's cool. That's cool.
And I actually have one of those masks right over here. I'll show it to you. You were going to see finished ones being boxed, and you were going to see unfinished ones on the assembly line. Chris, as a birthday gift, gave me one of the unfinished ones. I'll show it to you. Hold on.
Yeah, wow, this is great. We're getting. I think this is
that was a good question. I didn't know it was that good. Yeah.
Wednesday, you and I should be the new Regis and Kathy Lee. When you're not on tour, we'll you know, you're a big rock star, but you're good at sitting here chatting too. All right, here it is.
Whoa.
Hold on. Let's how do we, I don't know. There's a way to only show him. There it is, right there. Wow. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's pretty cool.
That's like Lex Luthor, Michael Myers.
Lex Luthor, yeah.
Yeah. Curly Michael Myers.
Sean has an amazing collection, and I should mention before I forget, Sean, Wednesday and I would like to come over to the house and see the collection sometime, if you would invite us.
Come over to the house and what?
See your collection.
Yeah. I mean, if we're all in town at the same time, we're all always on the road.
Yes.
We're more likely to see each other in an airport, as Sean mentions. This weekend, every one of us is going somewhere different. In 2 weeks, 3 weeks, Wednesday will be on tour for the rest of the year. Sean is at a different convention almost every weekend. And then myself, I'm out with Stephen Piercy almost every weekend.
Yeah, I'm in Tampa. I leave for Tampa on Thursday for Spookala.
That's a good show.
Then
I wish
get back. Huh?
That's a good show. I wish I could go. You got a good lineup.
And then I get back on Monday, then leave again on Thursday for Pennsylvania for Famous Monsters of Filmland weekend. Then I think I come back and then leave for Kentucky for Scarefest, then come back and leave for Frightmare at the Falls in Niagara Falls. I don't even know when my next weekend off is.
I go through my tour dates and I look to see where Wednesday's tour dates are and where Sean's conventions are to see if it's by some point our schedules match up. I want to show a little bit. So John Carpenter was there and he was gonna he spoke. They had a panel, and we decided that was the best time to go around Pasadena and look at the Halloween locations, because really everyone who was a Halloween fan was in that panel listening to John Carpenter, and we really weren't that interested in hearing things that we probably could hear on DVDs, TV, Sean's shows. So anyway, we here's a few pictures. Here's a trip of a little bit of our tour. This is me and Wednesday sitting on the steps of the Myers house. And it was interesting because there was a time when they had a sign outside that would tell you not to stand on it or get too close to it. It seems like they've fully accepted that this is the Myers house. And it was a Sunday. The businesses weren't open. Sean's episode of Horror's Hallowed Grounds is for this is really great. PJ Souls is in it with him. I watched it again last night, probably 10th time I've seen it, because Wednesday told me. I was trying to find the original location, which was demolished. And I was driving Rachel and Wednesday crazy because I said, I know there's a spot where you could see across the street and there's still some things there. And maybe I made this up in my head. And Wednesday said I had to refer back to Sean's video. Sean, is there anything that you could see at the location of the original Myers house, where it was?
Well, I mean, I know roughly where it was. There's a gap in between those condos. It was pretty much right where that gap is.
Yeah, that's what you were looking for, Jason. I was telling you that I saw his video and it was right where I was standing. You were like, "Where's it at?" I went, "I don't know." We were actually right there. So.
Yeah, when I first went there back in like 1994, I think it was. The you know how there's from the street there's a patch of grass, then there's a sidewalk, and then there would have been the front yard. So in that patch of grass, if you look in the movie, that you can see 3 stepping stones, like walking from the street that led to the front door, right? When I went there, those 3 stepping stones were still there. I don't know why I didn't take all 3, but I dug one up and it's now in my backyard. So it's the one stepping stone in my backyard that doesn't match. So
see, I knew there'd be something interesting about it. That's great. Well, now Wednesday when we come over to his house, we got to go look in his backyard too, apparently, just to see some history. Okay, let's look at some more pictures of our self-guided tour. I think this is Linda's house. Am I right, Sean? Let's see. I'll try to blow it up a little bit. 1087, 17.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Right? Is that right, Sean? Did he know?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah, that's also the Mama's family house, I believe.
Yeah, which I got extra excited about being from the South. That was like what?
I told Wednesday that this is the Mama's family house. He played the theme song in front of the house. He was excited. I will tell you, for people who are watching who are fans of Murder Dolls or Wednesday 13's music, when you meet Wednesday and you hear his Southern accent, I walk around. I've got a Wednesday impression now, which is my every Southern guy impression. But when you hear him scream in those songs, like when I'm with Stephen Piercy and he speaks and he goes, what's going on? He sounds like Round and Round. He speaks like a Rat song, whereas Wednesday sounds completely different.
Yeah, I sound like I'm from Mayberry.
a little bit. Then we went to the hedge, which is right there, and I tried my best to strike a Michael Myers post. I pointed out that those are not the same leaves.
We look more like the two amigos.
We were missing Sean, our black hair compadre. Yeah, but he was busy.
We're like those guys on Superman 2 walking around.
Yes. We're missing Sarah Douglas.
Zod and his crew.
Yeah.
This is, I'm going to say Annie Brackett's house, right? It's very small. But so we went there. These are most of these things I've just showed are on the same block. Sean's video, he really goes through all of it. And then, of course, the famous stoop or whatever they call it. There's Wednesday with the pumpkin.
The Strode house.
The Strode house.
Yeah, Sean, your video, after we did this all day, like I said, we spent the whole afternoon, the weekend there. And then I came home and they were showing marathons of Halloween on. So I had it on one TV and my TV in here. I watched your tour of that area, and it's the best. I mean, it's like if you had any question of anything, you nailed it. I mean, it's spot on. It's good job.
And that one's old. That one's from. I mean, I shot that episode in 2005.
Yeah.
Here is this is it again. It's small, but that's the doorway that Laurie comes in and out of in the movie. This house was for sale. I don't know if it's sold yet. It might still be.
It's in escrow right now. That's the door she comes out of. She comes in the front door.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. And I've seen people. Adam LeWoo has a video where he goes in the house. I don't really find that to be all that significant because none of the movie was filmed in the house, right, Sean?
Correct. They did not shoot in that house at all.
Yeah. And okay, so that's that slide. I got some more. We continued our tour. Just one more round of the tour. And let's see what we start with. Oh, we had to do, you mentioned it, and we had to do it as well. Pee-wee's house. Wednesday, what did you say when we got to Pee-wee's house?
Oh, whatever. I'm not sure if it's right off. It's like, morning, Mr. Crabtree. I'm going to water my lawn now. Yeah, man, that I wouldn't be the person I am without Pee Wee Herman and Michael Myers, and I know they're in the same neighborhood. Is made me pretty happy.
Here is Wednesday in front of an Indian restaurant, but this Indian restaurant is a piece of Halloween history. This is where Michael Myers gets the mask, right, Sean?
Oh, you're in front of the hardware store, yeah.
I'm sorry, it was a hardware store once, yes. And
Nichols Hardware.
Yeah, and then right in front of this is the intro to Caddyshack. The bicycle going across the train tracks, I believe, is the beginning of Caddyshack. Did you know that, Sean?
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
This is why I'm smiling so much from that weekend. It was like Halloween Overhaul and then Caddyshack, Mama's Family. And go ahead, explain.
Yeah,
Jason.
and here's a house that was not on the tour, but I had to get it in my tour. I wanted to see this for the longest time. Michelle has no idea what I'm talking about. Rachel had no idea what I'm talking about. Wednesday knew exactly what I was talking about, and we let the neighbors know. Sean, do you have any idea what famous television house that is?
Television house?
It's a television show. Yeah. Or early 80s, late 70s.
It's not. It looks familiar.
Yeah. When I say it, you go, of course it is. That's the governor's mansion from Benson.
Okay, I did watch Benson when I was a kid, but I would have never recognized it from Benson.
Yeah, it's been in other things too. A lot of like Starsky and Hutch or Columbo, or a lot of crime shows, and it was on Glow most recently. But I always like to find the oddball filming locations, and so there's a video coming soon of us on our tour, but also stopping by, and there was a car full of people. And I said to Wednesday, do you think these people know that they're in front of the Benson house? Of course, we thought no. And then one woman got out and took a picture of the house. So I don't know if they were on the Benson tour. You know, this is
it could have been used in something else, and we were just thinking they were into Benson the way we are and not feeling so geeky. But whatever.
We made it acceptable to take pictures in front of.
Well, there's so many of these, like, you know, like the Doyle house and Halloween was, you know, and Back to School. It was the Myers house and Rob Zombie's Halloween was Claire Danes' house and My So-Called Life, you know. So a lot of these have been used in a bunch of different shows and stuff.
Fans watching might not know this. Fans of Sean know this, but one of the coolest discoveries you made was that in the television version of Halloween, some of the footage was filmed inside the house that went on to be Nancy's house in Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yeah, that was a weird discovery. I went to that house. I can't remember what year it was that it was on the market when the people that owned it finally sold it, and they had an open house. And I drove to Hollywood and I went through the house and took a ton of photos. Even though they didn't film in the house for Elm Street, they did shoot a couple scenes in Nancy's bedroom looking out the window, but everything else was sets inside Nancy's house in the original Elm Street. Years later, probably at least 5 years after that, and I'd been back to the house, had been completely gutted and remodeled. The new owner completely changed it. I was watching the TV version of Halloween for the first time in years, And Lori comes down the stairs and she walks past this rocking horse. And I was like, I've seen this. Where have I seen this? This looks so familiar to me. The stairs, that rocking horse. I know that rocking horse. And it just kind of clicked. I was like, no, it can't be. I pulled up my pictures from when I went inside that house, and holy shit, it's the same rocking horse. It's the same house. I couldn't believe it. And then it made sense to me because apparently a lot of stuff was shot in that house. Like they rented it out for all kinds of productions. Upstairs, the girl who lived there was a girl who was she was a special needs girl. The daughter that lived in that house, she was probably in her 40s. She had a wall of fame with autographed pictures and autographed pieces of paper. And there was a John Saxon signed photo, obviously from Elm Street. But there was an autograph of Jamie Lee Curtis on a piece of paper saying, so nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I recognized her signature immediately. And I was like, oh, I wonder when she met Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, now I know. It was during the Halloween shoot. Yeah.
Crazy discovery, and it makes for great video. For those who haven't seen it, Sean has a video about it. And you can also watch that footage on YouTube. It's a cool scene that didn't make it into the regular movie. I should point out that rocking horse is now in Sean's backyard next to the step.
I would buy that fucking rocking horse if I ever saw it again. No, actually, it wasn't a cut scene. It was additional footage they shot for TV like a year later.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is, Laurie Strode and Halloween was in the Elm Street house first. That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
For fun, geek history. Okay, so there's so many questions. I'm going to start with these super chat questions if they were questions.
Here's another tie-in.
I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Be right back.
All right, I'll wait till you get back because it's metal related.
And I will point out while Wednesday's gone that Sean, we're going to have you come on and talk music because Sean has a great knowledge of music, and that's what the first time I spoke to Sean, someone told me, "Oh, you get along with Sean Clark," and we started talking. We talked like 5-6 hours about music and movies and such great, such fun thing. And it's rare when you meet people who have those interests. Wednesday is like that as well. So I say, Sean, at some point we got to do a night where we just talk about music. This Halloween convention kind of got in the way, and you are the authority that people want to talk to. A super chat here was, what Kiss shirt is Sean wearing? You knew that he wasn't going to just wear like any typical shirt. Yeah, that's a cool one. Now, some people are upset with the Ozzy pricing. We'll entertain it. To get a pic with Ozzy, you have to pay $666 first and get a picture with him extra. And okay, so Mike is concerned, but he paid me.
Well, I mean, no, you don't have to pay an extra $300. You're getting a photo with the family, so you're getting a picture with Ozzy. If you're saying you only want a picture solo with Ozzy, then yes, it's an additional thing. Here's the thing. He's doing this more for the family than for himself. So we had to do it in a way where it's not just everybody going to Ozzy's line and the other three are sitting there with an empty, nobody coming to them. So we made it a family deal. So he's there to help benefit them. So, and just like anything in life, you need food, you need shelter, you need clothing. You don't need to meet Ozzy Osbourne. So these are luxuries. Like, you can buy a moped and get everywhere you need to go. Or guess what? You can buy a Jaguar. That's your decision. You don't need a Jaguar. I have a Jaguar. I don't need it, but it's nice.
The price is not as crazy when you actually break it down. First of all, the chance that you will get a picture or an autograph from Ozzy Osbourne at this stage in his life is very slim. It's not like it was. He's older. He has health issues. Making public appearances is not as easy as it used to be. When you went to one of his concerts, if you paid for a photo with him in that throne, that's probably $1,000 or more.
It was more.
Yeah, Ozzy may never do another concert. We don't know. I mean, I'm sure he would like to, but he's obviously had to cancel. He has health issues. Sean couldn't be more honest that he's doing this. He said for the family, but I think Ozzy does this for the fans as well. this is the only chance you're going to get to meet the guy. If he made it free,
he does love it. I mean, Sharon told me his favorite thing in the world was doing in-store signings. That he absolutely loves meeting the fans. But you know, this is a whole production. They don't know. I mean, Ozzy only flies private. All right. If you look into what a private jet costs to go from LA to Pennsylvania and back, the expenses are insane. He has a private nurse and private security that travel with him. Kelly has a nanny. I mean, there's a whole team. All of it costs a lot of money just to even make this happen, you know? And, you know, honestly, $666 for an autograph from each of them and a photo with all four of them is, you know, look what Mark Hamill is charging to sign an autograph at a Star Wars convention. It's almost outrageous. The same price. And that's just one dude. And that doesn't include a picture.
Yeah, it's his pricing is outrageous. He's charging Harrison Ford prices. It's crazy. So look, the Ozzy thing, if you break it down, this is probably the only chance. And as Sean said, it's not for everybody. You can't give these things away. If he charged $100 or $150, he would never get a break. He'd be signing for a month. Sometimes you have to have a premium to it. This has become a high end game. There's ways to do it. Get your friends together and go in on it. You know, they want some. I see everyone doing it already. Hey, I'll get you your Ozzy autographs. Kick in a little extra consignment. Everyone's got a way to afford it. Sell something. Make something. If you don't like the family, sell the family autograph and then go buy an autograph from Ozzy. There's plenty of things you can do. And as Sean said, you don't have to meet him. If you'd like to, if this is exciting to you, you know, it's an investment. I collect. Sean collects. Wednesday collects. We all have women in our lives who accept our collecting, but sometimes probably think we're crazy. But at the end of the day, I remember I was going to get William Shatner to sign a Funko Pop, and I told Michelle, is it worth that much money? And she goes, of course, you have to do it. You know you want it. You want it, and you're going to be mad that you didn't do it. She's so right. And can you really remember what you spent on every item you bought? No, because as life goes on, there's new money, new problems, new whatever. And so if this is something that means something to you, meeting Ozzy, this may be your only chance. And I'm not just doing the hard sell. I don't have a cut of this. But that's why I think the price is not as crazy as you think.
Plus, I mean, it's like complaining about the price of a front row ticket versus a nosebleed seat. I mean, you want to go to the concert, you know, you're at the concert, you know, you choose to pay for where you're going to sit. You know what I mean? Again, these are luxuries. These are not things you have to have. These are things you want. There's a difference between want and need, you know?
And that didn't exist.
Yeah. Is it fair that people are richer than you? I mean, you know, I guess not. I don't know. I mean, but people work fucking hard. You know I do. I work my ass off to buy the things I like, you know. I don't make excuses for it, but I know people have shit luck too. Life can suck sometimes, but you know what makes you feel better? Meeting Ozzy.
Yeah, that's a reasonable price, because people don't realize now. Like I have a lot of fans that just, you know, VIPs and meet and greets is a standard thing now, but it wasn't, like, not even like 10 years ago. It still really wasn't like a standard thing. Now everybody does it. But Ozzy,
well, it's because the record industry is practically non-existent now. That's why. I mean,
exactly.
You know,
yeah, you know. But for people that didn't get a chance to see Ozzy when they were going to his concerts back in the 80s, that got families, and you know what I mean. Like now they got a chance to go. You know what? I've been busting my ass my whole life. I never met Ozzy. $666. Give me 3. You know what? It's totally reasonable for Ozzy.
Yeah, well, and the 666,
maybe not Boy Holding Pumpkin, maybe not, but Ozzy, yeah.
Yeah, Boy Holding Pumpkin, maybe not. Okay, we're gonna do last call on people's questions, and we'll approach the 2-hour mark. Mike Crawford says it was weird seeing Michael Anthony Hall as Tommy Doyle. Then again, it was even weirder seeing him as Mutt Lange in the VH1 Def Leppard movie. That may be one of the worst movies ever made. Okay, and then this question, I don't really pre-screen them. I feel like if you pay, you can ask whatever you want. This is from the classically deceased. H45 is amazing. The bus tour was the best part, with having Sean as our guide, along with Dick Warlock, which is great. Yeah, Dick was on Sean's tour. How cool. A few of us took pieces of the wood from the Tommy Doyle house from the dumpster that was being torn out. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, if you guys went by there, but they're remodeling the house, and one complete side of the house is gone, and you can actually see into the house. And there was a dumpster out front full of wood that they had ripped off the house, and fans were dumpster diving, grabbing pieces. It was pretty fun.
We didn't go to Hollywood that day. Those two houses are in Hollywood. When I was watching the demolition of the Christmas Vacation house, and I should point out, it's not I picked that movie, but it's also the Lethal Weapon houses next door. They filmed WandaVision on the other side. Old TV shows: Dennis the Menace, Bewitched, Genie,
the Monkeys.
Yeah. And Friends. The Fountain intro scene was filmed there. The Fountain's been saved and moved to Warner Brothers. But to watch it just literally going down in front of you, being demolished, you think somebody should have paid some money to buy that shell of a vacation house, move it somewhere, and do it. Or if you're really going to demolish it, maybe sell the pieces of the house. I know there's suckers out there like me who would buy a piece of wood from that house.
Yeah, there's fans that are stealing bricks from the factory from Halloween 3, since it's falling down, and they're selling them online. Why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I was going to say before you left Wednesday, was that there was a little connection, like we were talking about the Elm Street house and the Halloween house, right? Mm-hmm. So in Rob Zombie's Halloween, the kitchen used in Rob Zombie's Halloween was actually the kitchen inside the People Under the Stairs house. And all the rest of the interiors of the Strode house, which is in South Pasadena, was the house directly across the street from the People Under the Stairs house, which is the house they used. It looks like a weird little mansion. It was the one they used in the Loco Coal Chamber video. So, little metal connection there too.
Yeah, which is weird. That's my manager is Des from Coal Chamber, so he would know about that.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah,
that's funny. We used to play with them a lot.
Which is crazy.
I don't know if he remembers me. He'd probably remember the band, but we before they got big, they used to have a house not too far from like the Whiskey area on Sunset, and we all went over there and partied before we played with them on New Year's Eve at the Whiskey one night. And yeah, anyway, that was obviously before they blew up. They were headlining, obviously, but yeah,
right. The small world, because he knows I'm a crazy, like I say, he knows I'm obsessed with all these TV shows, and we first started, talking and stuff. I'm like, I'm obsessed with Leave It to Beaver, and he's like, my dad was Tooey on Leave It to Beaver. I'm like, what?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's just it's small world.
It's funny how everything connects. On Halloween 3, in some of Wednesday's music videos, you use the masks, right? The Halloween 3 masks appear in your video, right?
Yeah. For our record came out around this time last year, and you know how it was. Oh, we got to have 3 videos out before the album even comes out. So the third thing, it was close to Halloween, and I'd bought the mask a few years ago, and I was just like, what can I do? What have I not ripped off yet? Oh, let's try that. So, and it was easy to do and fun, and if people got it, they got it. A lot of people still don't know that movie. They don't know but if you know it, you're like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, Sean, we got to get Wednesday at one of these conventions. I feel like he should be the Duke of Halloween. Every song fits the season. I get some TVs and some pumpkins on the table, and I was listening.
If I would have known you were such a big Halloween nerd, I would have had you moderate one of the panels. I had Piggy D moderate one. I had Spencer from Ice Nine Kills moderate another. That would have been great to have you do one.
Well, I told Wednesday, all his peers.
50, I'll be there. I'll be there for 50. I can interview Boy with Pumpkin.
Yeah. You can have a Boy with Pumpkin panel. Moderated by Wednesday 13. Okay, I want to get to a couple more things. I'm not Mark 93. H45 was great. My wife and I took a page out of your book, pretended to be possible tenants at an apartment to see that thing you do location. That's a big thing, going to visit houses. I had a friend who did that with the room that George Reeves died in. He went on the tour and got to see, he was a prospective buyer, and he got to see the room where George Reeves passed. And Sean has tons of these stories. You got to subscribe to his channel, Malfunction.
I'll do my biggest one was I had to get in the house from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That was Judge Reinhold's house, and at see the pool where the famous Phoebe Cates scene happened. And when it went on the market, I immediately called to try to book a showing, and they were way on to the fans. Like, they're like, the only way we'll show you the house is if you can qualify to pay for it, to buy it. So they wanted you to pre-qualify. So I literally had to prove to them, I said, look, I have the money. I didn't want to go through the whole qualifying. I used to work in the mortgage industry long before I did any of this. I'm like, I don't want to go through all that. What if I just send you my bank statements and show you that I can afford it? And so I did. And they set up an appointment, and they were like really hardcore about no taking pictures and all that shit. I mean, I had to sneak everything. Of course, can I use the restroom? And I had to get in that bathroom. And as soon as I was in there, I'm like taking pictures. I considered even rubbing one out. Anyway, but then when we did get, I had to get a picture by the pool. So when we got to the end, I said, look, I am a fan of the film. That's one of the reasons I'm interested in buying. If I end up not getting it, I'll kick myself if I didn't at least get a photo by the pool. And the guy goes, okay. And he took a picture of me by the pool. So.
How great that, that's a question I asked Sean all my fan geek questions too, but that's when we never got to. I remember saying, I got to ask you that next time we talk. I got to ask you that Fast Time story, and that's a great video as well.
No one else I know has ever gotten in there ever.
No. People have videos of locations and things, but the bathroom and the pool in that house, you don't see. Let's take a question from Mike Crawford again. And I was at the show Wednesday, recorded his live CD in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. That was a live. We decided to record a live record, and the whole band got sick. So if you want to hear a band playing sick, listen to that live album. Not my favorite, but people like it. The best live album, maybe you agree with me, Sean, because I've seen your shirt several times. The best live album is Wasp Live in the Raw, next to Kiss Alive. That's the two best live rock and roll albums.
It's a great album. Yes. I mean, I'd have to go Kiss Alive 1 and Kiss Alive 2 first.
Yes.
Even though, let's face it, none of the albums we're talking about are all completely live. But
not at all. That's what makes them great. But Live in the Raw is great. And when I went to the convention today, I saw you had a Blackie Lawless screaming till you like it, what I call the shirt. So you want a shirt.
Yeah, I'm a big Wasp fan. I got to see them on the first tour back in '84, and I did just see them on their 40th at the Wiltern, and they were great. And talk about an affordable meet and greet. Blackie Lawless's meet and greet, I think, was like $250, and you got to see Soundcheck, Armored Saint Soundcheck. You got to go backstage, meet him, get 2 items signed, take a picture with him, and then he did an hour-long Q&A. I mean, that's a really affordable meet and greet. I mean, my guess is he's probably going to raise it if he hasn't already, but it was very cool.
That's what I thought. It was very affordable. Art asks me if I got PJ to sign my Rock and Roll High School stuff. That stuff was all done. I've gotten PJ to sign so many times. So all my Rock and Roll High School. I have 50 Ramones complete autographs in my collection. I have PJ on Rock and Roll High School DVDs and vinyl and things like that. And she is the triple threat: Stripes and Rock and Roll High School. What did I miss on Halloween? Which
Carrie.
Carrie. Someone had the shirt with the 4. I forgot the 4th one. So, out of all the racks there, PJ Souls was high up for me. I'm not sure what the best.
Well, she didn't make it to this one. She made it to everyone prior, and she wanted to come, but Pamela Susan Shoop, nurse. What was her name? Not Jill. Jill's the one that got stabbed in the back. Was it Linda? No. Why am I spacing on her character name? I don't know.
She canceled, right? At the last second, she had something?
No, she was never announced.
Okay. What about Ben Tramer? Where was he?
You know what?
We
happened?
asked him, Jack Verbeau. We asked him. He's done private signings at home, but has zero interest in doing a convention. Doesn't really like to travel. He's really active in the horse, like cowboy world, and he does like these almost every weekend. He does these kind of cowboy event things. I'm not well versed in that world, but basically it was a no.
Question that everyone asks you: where's Kyle Richards?
Probably at home.
Yeah, but she's been asked.
I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the Kyle Richards story. I'm trying to look up. It's going to drive me nuts. I can't. Is it Karen? I'm trying to remember her. I think it might be Nurse Karen, but let me double check. Okay. Halloween 2. Yeah, Karen. I was right. Kyle Richards, I talked to her on the set of Halloween Kills, and I was pitching it to her. And if Jamie had come, I think she could have talked Kim into making an appearance. But when I was explaining, yes, I am a smart ass. When I was explaining,
I think it said smart man. It said smart man.
I thought it said smart ass, but I'm both. I'll take both. But I explained to her how conventions worked, and she made a comment about, I mean, she started talking about how, like, if she signs like 50 autographs, like I would be done. My hand gets tired. I'm like, okay, then this is not for you, because you'll be signing a ton. And she was like, oh my, but she was very cool. I mean, I hung out with her all night. She was very cool, but clearly she lives in a different world than we do. So
did she sign your stuff?
Absolutely.
I was saying, I hope you took care of it. Yeah.
Well, here's a little bit of trivia for you. If you know this, the first time I met her is documented. I am in the very first episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Because I was being interviewed for the A&E backstory on Halloween. And the day I was coming in, the producer said, oh, by the way, Kyle Richards is coming in today. And I go, no way. She's like the one person I don't have. So I brought a couple posters, and she shows up. I did my interview and I'm hanging out. She shows up with a film crew following her. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Right? What's this all about? None of us knew, And so I'm waiting for them to all kind of chill and stop filming and stuff. And they, and she goes in the makeup room, and they're doing her makeup and getting ready for her to do her interview. I walk in and I said, hi, Miss Richards, would you mind signing my poster? And all of a sudden the producer of their show goes, whoa, wait, can you come back in and do that again? And I'm like, oh, fuck. So they filmed me doing it, like, oh, would you sign my Halloween? And she signed. So if you see that first episode, you'll see this nerd getting his poster signed.
That's great. Well,
and a lot of people recognize me. People, when reruns come on, people go, were you on the Real Housewives? I'm like, yeah.
That's good authenticity too. The moment was marked. It would be great to see her. I think she's married to like a prince or something too, right? I don't think she needs.
Well, she's part of the Hilton family, so she's got that Hilton money.
Yeah, so I don't.
Now, what was she? Now she has a sister as well, right? That did movies.
Kim Richards, who was in Assault on Precinct 13, and Tough Turf. Tough Turf, that's the shit.
She was hot in Tough Turf. I did get her to sign my Tough Turf memorabilia. I'm not going to lie. And she was also on Different Strokes for a little while. She was on the spin-off.
Different Strokes.
And a short-lived series called Hello, Larry. I don't know if you remember that show.
That's the show, Sean. That's the show that was a spin-off of Different Strokes. Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that was a spin-off of Different Strokes?
Yeah.
Yes, Larry. Her dad was trying to screw over Mr. Drummond on some stuff, if I remember correctly.
And I don't remember the actor's name, but he was on MASH that played her dad.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're old.
This is what people like to see. everyone's a fan of something, and everyone's a little crazy about things. And so when we all get together, look, I do this show. I'll be honest with you. I've interviewed a few people that I was falling asleep during. I've interviewed people that I knew nothing about. But when I get together with you guys, it's like
Oh yeah,
it's
our
actually
nerd
fun.
levels, it's crazy. Like just the stuff we could put if we went on some kind of like horror retro movie like trivia show, we would probably win. I would say we would most
Well, I actually play horror trivia every month at Blast from the Past in Burbank. I have a
go to that
team. We've
store.
been
No way.
Huh?
No way.
Yeah,
I go to the store every week. I was just there. I buy a lot of shit from there. So it's crazy.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of times that we're short a player. If you ever want to step in and flex your horror trivia muscles, I'll tell you what, it's fucking legit. Like it's not easy. It's hard shit.
Oh well, I will learn. If I can't contribute, I will at least hang out. But yeah, I didn't know that's so crazy. That's like right a couple blocks down from Halloween Town. I was telling Jason about it. They have the GI Joe US flag in there. I go in and gawk at.
It's good is that we all like a lot of the same things, but we all have different areas of expertise. There's different things that we specialize in, and that way we make a pretty badass team to answer all kinds of insane questions. And it's fun because a lot of times as we get older, some of this shit you would never remember again. I'm not sure if Hello Larry was going to come back into my mind.
No, I actually have the theme song from that in my head because I was watching a YouTube video. It was like horrible TV shows that didn't make it. And it was like a 10-minute clip, and that song came on. It was like, "Hello, Larry." I'm like, this is terrible. I recognize the Strokes connection there.
Now I got to take a potty break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back. McLean Stevenson, by the way, that's his name. I got to tell you, Wednesday, it's been fun. Sean was working at the convention, so he didn't get to wait online with us while we.
Oh yeah, we talked about everything from music to from the whole night. We had the Enough's Enough night before to hang out and stuff, and it was a cool thing. It was just a fun weekend. It went from glam metal to Halloween all the way to Benson. I mean, I don't know if you could really. I mean, that was just, where do you go from there?
We covered it all. Wednesday when we were first hanging out, I have friends who are recognizable or known in the industry, and I didn't know how you feel about being out and about or these type of things. It wasn't fast between Michelle and I both said, "Oh, he's one of us. He's a fan and a nerd just like everybody else." And you were so accommodating to everyone who came over to you. Plenty of people know you from this horror world.
Yeah, I mean that makes me happy to know that I'm recognized. And when Sean said a lot of people from all over the world flew into that, and that was most of the people that came up to me. Like one guy came up to me, I told you, he's like, "Hey, Wednesday," I'm doing a horrible accent, so I'm gonna do it again. He goes, "Hey, Wednesday, if you ask him to pull the glasses out, he'll," and I'm like, "What?" And then I told you about the glasses, and then I didn't put together the guy said Wednesday, and then he asked me for a photo, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So it was just. There were people that recognized me, but it was a lot of people from out of town, and there was a lot of locals as well. But just knowing that, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so if anyone can recognize me in that world, it's always a good thing.
I tell people if you get any kind of notoriety, and Sean is known for his YouTube channel, Hallowed Grounds, as well, and now conventions, and myself for this channel and the tour diaries I do with Stephen Pearson. There's so many worse things you could have than people who like you and are fans of what you do. I got to say, I think it's almost 100% polite people that I've met. Maybe sometimes somebody's drinking a little bit, but they support what we do, and they have like interests that we have. So it really is great. And I've, as a fan, you like to meet the people who are cool. And so when you go to these things, we're all in it together, and it was fun. And Wednesday, you make a good point. We have to ask Sean about it. A fan of yours came over and said that if we ask Bob about seeing the glasses, he'll show us the glasses. I forgot Bob's name, but Sean reminded us.
John Michael Graham.
Yeah, I was excited to see him. Yeah,
he had the glasses with him, right?
He didn't show us. I tried.
Oh, he must not have brought them because he usually has them sitting out. They will be mine eventually. He's already told me he will sell them to me. He just isn't ready to part with them yet.
Well, okay, that's good because we'll get to see them when we come over to your house to see the step in the backyard. But I told
you
him,
can see the Bob's glasses from Rob Zombie's Halloween at my house, though. I do have those.
that's great. So you need the matching set. He said that he takes them out and he used to let people wear them, and he's worried that they're going to fall apart. I told him that he needs to get himself a nice box, a nice protector to show them, pad it, seal it, and he seemed to like that idea. And then people can just observe them before they're in the Sean Clark.
No, save your money. Just pass them on to me. I'll get the box.
Yeah, I mean, he'll preserve them. Yeah, he'll preserve them. All right, we're going to take like a last call on questions. Anyone who has anything they want to ask of Wednesday and Sean, you can ask me any day. I'll be back on tomorrow with Courtney Gaines, who was in the movie Children of the Corn. He was in Back to the Future. He's in The Burbs. If you take the Universal City tour, the studio tour, you can see all the locations from The Burbs if you're fans of that. And you'll hear the music of Circus of Power and Jet Boy in that cult classic. Anyway, he'll be here tomorrow. He has a record coming out. It's an EP. And so he'll be here to talk about that. Sean's going to Universal Horror Nights tomorrow, right? Wednesday, you got a concert to go to tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow I'm going. Yeah, I'm going to see Devil Driver and Cradle of Filth. They're kicking off their co-headline tour tomorrow, so I'm going to go see those guys. So we're touring with Cradle of Filth in Europe early next year in places that I can't even pronounce. So when I get there, the redneck accent's going to be in full swing there. Like when I be like, "Yo, what's up, Krakow?" That's one place on my itinerary that I can pronounce. I don't know where it is, but it's over there.
Well, if you, I'm sure you're going to probably see Des tomorrow night. Then
yes.
Ask him if he remembers the band Malfunction. I'm sure he does.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely ask him.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we played with them a bunch of times, but I never really stayed in touch with those guys.
Right. Yeah, well, they're just going back out, I think, doing the Cold Chamber stuff for like the first time in forever, and now he's doing Devil. He just finished Cold Chamber, now he's going out with Devil Driver. So he's been busy as fuck. He's making me look old.
Actually, we're on a CD, a comp CD with them, a live comp CD. I don't know if you remember it. It was like an indie thing. It was called Monster Mosh. It was recorded on Halloween at the Roxy. We're on that. We played that show with them, so we're on that as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Snot played that too. I remember them. Can't remember who else was on that show, but anyway, enough about me and my failed rock career.
Well, speaking of rock careers, I think we guys, the three of us, we got to get a little something. We'll play the horror convention circuit. I'll play bass. Wednesday will sing and play guitar, and Sean will play drums. We'll play some horror music fitting things, and that could be the hot new thing. So Sean, you work on it, or I'll work on it, and we'll open for Stephen Piercy.
And we have to dress like the Three Amigos.
Well, I'm down for that.
That would be really cool.
Okay, I'm going to rapid fire through these questions while you guys mull about the future of us performing music. Chimney Town says, "I ain't got no questions, but hi Wednesday." And George is going to see Wednesday on tour. Angela's saying, "What a great time she had." Sinister Ambulance would like to know, when is the next episode of The Thing with Two Heads? He's got your mic's on.
Oh, he's on mute.
Oh, sorry, I'm on the mute. I can't. Anyway, next episode. Shit. We want to record. Oh, well, I know we're recording a live episode at Famous Monsters of Filmland. So we will be recording an on-stage live episode there.
Nice.
That's not this weekend, but next weekend.
No questions. Just wanted to say hi. Can't wait to see Wednesday in Spartanburg and then in Knoxville at the end of November.
That's where I can use my accent, and it'll fit right in those places.
Get your tickets. Yeah, get your tickets because a lot of these shows are selling out. That's not just me bluffing. A lot of these shows are selling out.
Yeah, our first show at the Whiskey. There's low tickets on that. Believe it or not, Knoxville is another place that we do really well. So yeah, it's lots of good shows coming up. I'm excited to get back on the road. I haven't played since we went to England back in May, so I'm ready. I got the eye of the tiger.
Well, it's a long tour. 38 shows is a lot of shows. So you got a lot ahead of you. And again, we said playing Murder Dolls music. I'm a bigger fan of the solo music. Not that I don't like Murder Dolls, but I like the solo stuff. I'm trying to convince you to play a little bit of both, sneaking a couple of my favorites in there. But anyway, get your tickets. Sean, you saw the question. It's a ridiculous question. Do you think?
No, not ridiculous. I mean, I'm holding out hope that maybe she'll do H50. I think a lot of that, what will decide that, will be where her career goes in the next 5 years.
Yeah, no more Oscars. Yeah, no more Oscars. Let's see. This is a good one. Yeah, very good question. Saw Violence. For both Sean and Wednesday, favorite Ace Frehley song. These are hard to just think of one off the top of your head.
Well, maybe not. I mean, "Rip It Out" is probably the best Ace Frehley song, and I mean that made the other guys in Kiss scared when they heard that. They were like, "Oh boy, you messed up with the solo."
I mean, it's funny because it changes, but my favorite always was "Rocket Ride." But
there you go. Okay, yes.
You know, you gotta love "Shock Me," of course, even though kind of sick of hearing it. But another one I really like is "Snowblind," and
Snowblind.
Is it? It's a what is that? I Need Your Love. What is that? I need your love. What is that?
He plays it live sometimes. Snowblind's a good one.
Yes. There you go. But yeah,
I'm in need of love. What is it called?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I like that song a lot too.
Yeah. You named all the ones, and Rocket Ride is definitely. I'll never forget me and my friend watching Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park, and we were just kind of like getting into old Kiss because we're younger, so the 80s Kiss was on the radar, but getting into the older stuff, and we were watching that like on VHS, and there's a part where Ace, and maybe it's a voiceover, starts singing Rocket Ride, like sings like a line from it, and we were like, whoa, what's he talking about? Because it sounded weird and cool, and we were such geeks. We looked it up, and it was like, oh, that's a song. So then we found Alive 2, side 4. There it was, the greatest song that we heard, and we just heard him mention it. And that was that was like a discovery,
I saw Sean's video on the locations of Kiss Meets the Phantom, and I was so motivated. I've never been to Six Flags. Wednesday, we're going to have to go. It looks like it's in disarray. I want to see it's the last thing from the vacation movies I need to see, where they're all put their hands up. How would you feel if you went to Florida and it was closed? They don't close Florida. I want to see that, and I've never been there. And it's so. But Sean's video motivated me. He went to the actual stage where they filmed that scene, and also Spinal Tap filmed there.
By the way, they're tearing that stage down, so you should go soon if you want to see it. Because I heard they're tearing out the whole theater. Where I saw fucking Stryper there back in the 80s. I saw Oingo Boingo there. Obviously the famous jazz explosion Spinal Tap scene with the guy in the front row giving him the thumbs down. Obviously the big fight, the fight scene with the samurais. I would definitely.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I
don't know when it's getting torn down, but it's getting torn down soon.
Is that where they played Rip, and Destroy?
No, they played that in the parking lot.
Okay,
they've set up a stage in the parking lot. It was just the theater stage is where they fought the samurai. So,
nice. We should dress up
because you always fight samurai.
Yeah, of course. Jason, when we go, we should dress up like those bullies from that the bullies in the park and just the guys that they were like 40 years old, but they're supposed to be high school kids.
Chopper, whose name was Chopper.
What about Black Ace? There's a stuntman who plays Ace Frehley who's African American. Is he available for conventions, Sean?
Alan Oleni is his name, I have his. I'm looking at his phone number right now. Tom Morga gave it to me. He knows him.
Crazy.
I've been meaning to get him on the show to interview him. I want to hear Black Ace stories.
Mm-hmm. He would be a huge thing at the Kiss conventions. Everyone would. He'd make more money than at Kiss. People.
I guarantee you, he would kill at a Kiss convention. People, as a fucking, just as a gag, people would want a signed photo of Black Ace. That one shot when he gets thrown against the wall and he's like, yeah.
When is Wednesday coming back? Wednesday, what's your website so people can look at the date?
Officialwednesday13.com. And I have all my stuff on my Facebook and my Instagram, which they can find off of your post off of Instagram as well. But we're in Seattle the first week of the tour. I don't know the exact date, but the tour starts on October 20th, and it's before Halloween. So it's that week. We're at El Corazon in Seattle.
Did Sean already do film sites in Charleston, South Carolina?
I'm assuming they're asking about Halloween 2018 because that was shot in Charleston, South Carolina. No, I didn't do I did kills because I was on set and I knew where everything was. It's. I mean, the problem is since they tore down Laurie Strode's house, I've kind of lost my motivation to go because that seemed to be like the coolest location from that film.
I get it. It's you have a great variety. For those of you, I want to make sure everybody knows, go to Mel Funk Sean on YouTube, subscribe to his channel. It's great because we all have a different audience, and it's good to spread it around the community and let people see cool things. Once I fall for something, I listen to Wednesday's records now constantly. I always watch Sean's stuff. I'm up on everything. I see myself at 4 a.m. going, do I start another one of these videos? And next thing you know, I'm watching Sean and his girlfriend at the fair, eating food. And I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm right in there. And I know when I get people who ask me about the time I worked for trauma and horror movies, I know that they came through Sean. I get a lot of goth chicks and that type. I know they come through Wednesday. So I can usually tell, and I'm happy that we can all share things. Let's see. Oh, someone said we should call the band the Three Dead Amigos. It's not bad. Not bad.
That works too.
And I'm going to wrap it up so I can see. You're going to see Sean at Scarefest.
See you there.
Here's one why question for Sean. Why did Andy and Scout miss the convention?
Scout canceled because she got a movie. And I guess it was a SAG-approved production. They got a waiver. She posted about it. See, as far as Andy, she's known about it for a long time. Her management, she doesn't work with somebody like me. Unfortunately, she's working with her big agency, which those guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. The CAAs, WMEs, people like that. I think she's with Innovative. They booked her into a convention in Florida in a couple weeks as her first appearance and snubbed us. I'm sure she's going to hear about it all weekend that weekend. Why weren't you at H45? It was massive.
Yeah.
Which actress is that? I'm sorry that I don't even know.
She played Jamie's granddaughter. She's the main girl in all the movies. Yeah, Andy Matichak. She's lovely. I mean, I'm very friendly with her. We've had her on our podcast. I've gone to dinner with her. But Jamie actually connected us, said you need to work with Sean for conventions. And I was talking to her. It was going great. And then Innovative stepped in and said, no, we handle that for you. And she went with them. And
they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. A couple of these questions. Does anyone know about the molds from the Atkins sugars to destroy to prevent bootlegs? My question is there going to be a variation of that Atkins? That's what I'm thinking. Is this it? Is there only 1,000, or are we going to get a blood splattered edition?
That's not for me to announce. But I can tell you right now, that version will never exist again.
Yeah. We got a collectible. Yeah. Even though ours is stepped on.
Hey, I'm all right. If it's never going to be made again, it's all right.
Yeah, we have Sean's telling you that there's going to be a similar one, but not the same exact one. You have to read between the lines.
All right.
Okay, let's see. There was another one. This one's been coming up a lot. will you give us an Exorcist review? Have you seen the new Exorcist? This one's coming up a lot in the chat.
Haven't seen it yet. It comes out this Friday, so go see it. I haven't seen it yet. I know Chris has seen it. Obviously, he went and saw it a little over a week ago for the first time, and then he recorded an audio commentary with the director on Tuesday. So he's seen it twice. He's given me his full review, but that's for him to discuss. I'm looking forward to it.
He worked on it.
He did all the makeup. Yeah.
So
yeah. And actually, the two girls, they're on my client list, and they're going to be appearing at that Famous Monsters convention with Ozzy. It'll be their first convention ever, and Chris will be there as well. So
very cool. You know, a silly movie that I watched, I didn't think I'd like, and I liked it. And I was at Universal Hollywood, and they had a thing, and you represent her, is Megan. I liked that Megan movie.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Right?
It's a ton of fun, man. And the girl who plays Megan, she's so cool. Such a cute, girl from New Zealand. She's a like acrobat gymnast, and they had another actress do the voice, but she was the girl wearing the costume doing all the cool shit. So
yeah, that was the movie I saw the previews of, and I went, I hope the movie's as good as and it was exactly as good as everything the previews. It was just, I don't watch a lot of newer stuff, but I was really happy with that.
And they have a little thing at the Universal Horror Nights where they reference Megan. They have actresses as Megan, and it's really, I really thought it was fun. I was really surprised. What about the David Harbour Santa Claus movie? I haven't seen it yet. You guys recommend that one?
It's entertaining. I didn't think it was a great movie, but is it worth watching? Yes. It's very fucking violent.
All right.
Have you seen it Wednesday?
I have not.
It's called Violent Night, I think.
I was too busy watching reruns of Hunter.
Yeah, he loves Hunter. Yeah. Now I know the catchphrase. I forgot it for a while.
Works for
you
me.
mean the Fred Dwyer one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Former LA Ram.
Mm-hmm. And what was his movie? What was his first movie after Hunter? His first debut big movie?
I don't think I know that.
I don't remember.
Death Before Dishonor.
Oh, Jesus.
Army movie starting on the front. I remember my dad.
Oh, yeah. I remember the video cover.
Yeah, my dad was a big Vietnam guy, so any movies I watched all those through my dad. So there you go, some 80s trivia.
Nice, yeah. Sean, what did you think of Silver Scream Con in Danvers? Did you check out the state hospital location from session 9?
Did I check it out again? Yes.
Yes.
I thought the Silver Scream Con was really good. I mean, Spencer and his team, basically he brought in the crew that does Astronomicon, the guys from Twisted, their crew that run that show, and had them run Silver Scream, and it was great. And I think they're going to move it because they've already outgrown the venue. But the venue they were in was literally a mile from where Danvers State Insane Asylum used to be. And if you watch my session 9 episode of Hallowed Grounds, I broke in there many years ago and filmed. But they've since torn all of it down except the center building of the Kirkbride building. And they've built condos. It's now a condo complex. But I did actually go back and film a little intro to a new video I'm going to put out. Basically, so many people are infatuated with that building and its history that I figured, you know what? I'm going to release all the raw footage of me just walking through there with the camera, and people that are really into that building, they can sit there and watch it. So I shot a little intro to that. I just haven't gotten around to putting it together. So.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And yeah, people love watching your videos, the Evil Dead videos. That one was huge. And there wasn't much left, but you went and found it. You'll hear people tell you, I got stuck in Long Island with Stephen Piercy 2 days. Delta just didn't have a flight for us. And I had a friend who said, I'll show you around town. And we went to the house of Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco. And we went to the Amityville house, the house that inspired it, not the movie house. And, people say, oh, it looks so different. And while it is different, it's still so cool to visit these locations. It's one of the things I like about watching Sean's channel is that, yes, sometimes you get there and it could be a little anticlimactic. You might not see what you expect, but it's great to see what they things look like and do updates because these things change so fast. And at some point, a lot of the famous locations we've seen won't be there at all.
Yeah, it's a bummer seeing things go away. And, I'm always nervous that eventually they're going to shut down and tear down the mall from Dawn of the Dead, even though it's changed drastically. And, when I went there in the 90s, it looked exactly like it did in the movie, but I still get excited every time I go to Steel City Comic-Con. I walk across the street every day and have lunch in the food court just to be in that mall,
I'm waiting for them to add somebody that I'm interested in so that I can go do it again.
Hey, Sean, here's a question off the top of my head I thought about earlier. So you've booked so many people from movies and everything. Have you ever thought about, or maybe you could think about, like an idea of, like we were talking about Wasp earlier and Blackie Lawless, like doing like a shock rock kind of panel? You know what I mean? Like ever putting some of those guys together, like Blackie or Danzig or like that could be cool too.
Absolutely. It's just getting them to do it. I mean, Danzig is impossible. Forget about it. I brought it up to Blackie's handler that was there in the meet and greet thing. I gave him my card. I told him what I did, said to look up my website. Never heard anything.
Well, there's a connection there. You can do something like a horror thing. He's got the Ghoulies connection with that, which there are people that idolize that movie.
No, he would kill. I mean, he would kill. I mean, I think Blackie would do so good at a convention.
He did them back in the day a little bit in New Jersey. This is going back 30, 25 years when you get autographs for $25. He would absolutely clean up right now. And I think his health has been a little tough, just like Ozzy. Maybe doing signings is going to be an easier thing for him to do.
I just think a lot of these guys don't know what those things entail. Like, I don't think, just like we sat there and watched the convention all weekend. Like, you don't know until those fans get there. You don't know what you're missing out of. You know, hearing about conventions back in the day, you only heard about Star Trek conventions, like, oh, that's dorks and nerds. But now people don't realize that what they could do. Like, you could go and make more money doing a weekend than you could do an entire tour. But I don't know.
We've been talking, not directly, but my buddy is I don't know. Do you know Mike Spears?
I don't think I know the name. Maybe possibly.
He worked for John 5 for a long time. Works with Rob Halford. He's currently Marilyn Manson's assistant.
Okay.
Anyway, been discussing with him about possibly getting Marilyn out there. Obviously, kind of waiting for his legal shit to get sorted, and there's interest apparently. So, he would be great. I think he would destroy at a convention.
Oh yeah, any of these. I mean, you could put Alice, Manson, Rob Zombie, Blackie Lawless, Danzig, and you've literally got the Mount Rushmore of hard rock, and like, you know what I mean? Like, they could charge whatever they want, and as a group photo, dude, that's TV guide worthy.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, I can't for the life of me can't convince Rob to do it. So,
he would do,
and he would clean the fuck up with his horror movies, and I mean, I know he does his meet and greet and stuff. Yeah. He did a convention, had a really, really bad experience, from what I understand. The story I was told, was said he wanted certain things done and did not want it to be done a certain way, and they lied to him and did exactly what he said he didn't want done. And he said, that's it. I'll never fucking do it again. And he has never done one since. And I wish he would try it with somebody like me who can make sure it's done the right way. I think he'd actually enjoy it. But
well, I think you're the guy to do it. So
I think so too. He would like it. He likes fans. He's done things for free to sign, and he could cure world hunger or something with some of this money. Some of these people, like Jamie Lee Curtis, They talk about the SAG thing. If you're so concerned about it, why don't you go and raise some money for some of these people who aren't working right now? And I'm not talking about these big Hollywood stars, but there's a lot of people who really depend on show business to make a living. And go sign some autographs. She does do a lot of charity. That's why I bring this up. And you can order her autograph. It's expensive. And you get a photo of an old lady who eats yogurt, not Laurie Strode. Sorry, Sean. Sean's got to work with these people. She's not watching this shit. But anyway, these people could do some charity. Rob Zombie, there's a lot of good people out there could do it for good cause. And you said he does a meet and greet where people line up and they get things signed. So, okay. Sean, did you see that question for you? I didn't get it. It was, they were bummed to miss Mary Ann Hagen this weekend. Does she do other cons?
She canceled. Well, she didn't want to cancel. Her flights got canceled because apparently there was flooding in New York over this last weekend. She's available to do other conventions. She wants to do other conventions. Unfortunately, Halloween 6 isn't a huge draw. At a Halloween convention, she'd do great, but at a regular convention, she might do so-so. We're talking. I'm going to try to help her get into something else.
Yeah, Alice Cooper, of course. Alice Cooper does conventions. I mean, if the king could do them, anybody could do them. He does really well.
Ace and Peter do them all the time, and they clean up. Gene did a couple. He was killing it. If Paul did one,
he's got a bunch more coming. You're going to see the future of Gene at conventions. Once this Kiss is done, he'll have a band, and he'll be signing. He'll be meeting Gene a lot.
Yep.
I don't doubt it. I mean, Paul's the one everybody wants, though, because he's the one that is the toughest to get,
Okay, let's. We've gone for 2.5 hours. These guys have lives. I'm not so much, but I got to let them go back to their lives. Let me just see if there's anything else of importance. We need a Tron Con. That's definitely a
Tron Con.
Sean is the Tron. Your mic's not on, Sean.
It's too bad.
What did you say? Tron Con?
Yeah. Someone would like you to put together Tron Con.
It's too bad that the actor that played Sammy Kerr from Trick or Treat is no longer around, because he would kill it at these conventions.
Now he would, yeah. Now he would.
Wednesday, watch his video. Watch Sean's video, Malfunction Sean, of him at the Trick or Treat locations. It's crazy.
No, I haven't seen that one. All right.
Yeah.
A morning treadmill video, so I'll watch that tomorrow. That's killer.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Cadence has asked this question a few times, so I should get it. He can't answer the whole thing. They'd like the set list for the Murder Dolls concert.
I don't even know it yet. I know what songs we're going to play in what order. I don't know yet. I don't know. I just say all the good ones, all the ones that people are saying they want to hear. They're on the list.
A lot of people have also asked you about all ages shows. I mean, Wednesday doesn't make that decision.
People ask me all the time. I mean, I get messages all the time going, "Can you please change the age limit?" And I wish I could. And that makes me feel good to know that I've been doing this for so long and people are still young enough not to get into the shows. So I know I'm still appealing to a younger audience. Yeah. Good. But unfortunately, I can't change those things. I wish I could, but that's up to the venue. So I get a lot of people asking me that, which is unfortunate. I can't sneak them in. I wish, all I could do is recommend the Little Rascals thing where you get your friend on your shoulders, get that trench coat, and just walk right in.
Mm-hmm. Tell him Wednesday said it's okay. Sean, did you see Saw X?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Oddly enough, I was with Tobin Bell yesterday doing a private signing, and I was telling him I hadn't had a chance to see it, but everybody's been saying great things about it. That it's really good, because I think it's a prequel, like in between 2 and 3. Is what they're going for. Have you heard the premise? It's really good.
I hadn't.
That Jigsaw goes to Mexico to get some like cancer treatment, like that's some special, that they won't do in the States, and it ends up being a scam, and then he makes them pay for it. So.
That sounds all right. It sounds a little refreshing. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've seen 7, 8, 9, 6. Yeah, Saw's not really my thing.
I'm so behind. I haven't seen The Nun 2 yet. I haven't seen Saw X. I finally saw Talk to Me, which I really liked. Don't know if you guys have seen that one.
I haven't.
It's Australian. It's good.
I tried to watch The Witch the other night, and I was watching it for like 30 minutes, and I looked over at my lady and I went, I've been watching this for 30 minutes and I have no idea what any of them have said at all because the language is
subtitles.
Yeah. I was like, what's happening here? So I need to watch that with subtitles, but yes.
All right. A couple of Sean questions real quick. Where was it? People who talk to Sean have a whole nother language. I don't always know the people. Hey, Sean, do you think you ever have Mike Flanagan on The Thing with Two Heads? Be fun.
Yeah, I've actually talked to him about it. I definitely want to get him on there sometime. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's the director, did Haunting a Hill House, Haunting a Bly Manor, did Dr. Sleep. Okay. He's Midnight Mass, the Midnight Club, all that. That's all him.
Speaking of Trick or Treat, what happened to Lisa Orgolini from that movie?
Who is she in that? I don't know. I just know.
I'm guessing she's probably the lead girl. Let me look her up.
I saw Mark Price is doing a show coming up. I saw that.
He did it this past weekend. It was that LA HorrorCon piece of shit.
Oh, what a mistake.
Yeah. That website looked terrible on that.
No. Yeah.
Oh God, read some of the stuff online since the show. Yeah. It's a slaughter.
The only reason that I wanted to go, which was the Beastmaster, Mark Singer was there. So
that guy does the Hollywood show all the time.
Oh,
that's where I met him.
Yeah. Who she was? Let's see. Lisa was. Yeah, she was the main girl. So, I don't know whatever happened to her. But interesting. Tony Fields, who played Sammy Kerr, ex Solid Gold dancer.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this. He's in the Beat It video. Michael Jackson's Beat It. He's one of the dancers. And remember when the scene where they walk into the diner and the guy pulls the girl's hair back and kiss it? That's him.
Yeah. Well, you can tell at the end of Trick or Treat. Well, when he's doing his performance at the high school, you can tell he's got some solid gold moves there.
Big time. My only complaint, even though I love the Trick or Treat soundtrack now, and I was a Fastway fan back then, as a metal kid, seeing that in the movie theater when I was 15 years old, I wasn't buying that voice coming out of that guy.
It did.
I was like, that guy should have a Blackie Lawless voice, even though oddly enough, Blackie was supposed to play that part.
Yeah, and doesn't the guy from Flogging Molly, isn't he the lead singer of
Dave King?
And he doesn't like want to be known for any of that Fastway stuff. That's what I had heard.
Word is they might have got him for the new DVD interview. They were talking to him. I guess he was being receptive.
Good, because he should be proud of that. That's a killer.
Dude, I saw Fastway New Year's Eve, 1983. Open. It was Fastway, Saxon, and Iron Maiden. Peace of Mind tour.
Damn.
Long Beach Arena.
Long Beach Arena. They have returned.
And then I saw them a year later on Power Slave, and that was the famous "Scream for Me, Long Beach." That's the Live After Death.
Yeah.
I can never go to Long Beach without saying "Scream for Me, Long Beach." I'm sure it's the same with all of us.
I just remember the beginning of Live in the Raw. The guy that intros Wasps, it sounds like he's about to fall asleep. Long Beach Arena, they have returned. It's like, come on, dude. Get into it.
Favorite horror movie? This is a tough one to answer. Maybe you guys have something.
The Shining.
Can't go wrong with The Shining. Wednesday?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1's my favorite.
Yeah, I knew that was a big one for you. I usually say Creature from the Black Lagoon because I think that was the first thing that really scared me. We went to Burger King to get 3D glasses, watched it on WPIX Channel 11 in New York, and I was, forget Jaws, I was scared of the water with the creature. And so I think that began, or the first time I saw monsters was Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. First time I saw Bela Lugosi as Dracula, I knew that was Dracula. So I think that's the beginning for me. And then we all like the same. We all grew up on those '80s movies.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to let everybody go. I want to make sure. Oh, mute your mic for a second.
Oh, mute it. Sorry.
We're echoing again.
Yeah.
Echo.
We'll mute it while we plug. Want to make sure that everybody checks out Sean's YouTube channel, which is called Malfunction Sean. On his show, you have the horrors, Hallowed Grounds. You can go back and binge the old ones. You'll be hooked, as I am. I'm not sure what Sean's sign says. I'll have to ask him a second. But you can go watch the old episodes because they're great. He always has new content. A Thing with Two Heads was his show with himself and Academy Award winner Chris Nelson. I think that's his name. And it's great. And they do a great talk show where they talk about all the things you want to know behind the scenes. The two of them have so much knowledge of this industry. So that's where you can check out Sean. You can also catch him at these conventions. Convention All Stars is the roster of people that he has. And what happened to Norman Reedus? He was supposed to be at the Aussie thing. What happened?
Had to cancel because AMC struck a deal with SAG to continue production on Daryl Dixon. So he had to go back to France to finish filming.
Gotcha. Yeah. And for those who are worried about the strike, I've heard from inside information that in November, everyone's back to work. So I don't know if I think we've all heard that. Sean, what were you showing us? I missed it.
Oh, I was just showing stickers, and this has the web info on the back, so you can see how to spell malfunction.
Yes, you have a tough name. Yeah, malfunction. There it is. Yeah,
Mal-fun.
And I'll add, I'll put links in the description. And then Wednesday,
and that's carryover from the old band Malfunction. It was our guitar player was named Al. So his nickname was Al Function. To this day, he's a guitar tech for Clutch. They still call him Al Function. So as a dumb joke, I said, well, if you're Al Function, I'm Malfunction. And it was one of those names that was a good screen name because nobody would ever have that because it's such a weird spelling. And it kind of stuck.
Yeah, for good or bad, because I know you said sometimes people don't spell it right. But if you type in Sean Clark or you type in any of it, the Horrors Hallowed Grounds, you're going to find him. Wednesday, we talked about it, officialwednesday13.com. You're about to go on tour for the first time playing Murder Doll songs. People in the question is asking a favorite song to play. It's probably a tough one.
I guess I kind of like them all.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're like your children. They're like your children, right?
No, I mean, it's honestly, I don't know which one's my favorite. Like revisiting these songs, because I haven't played these songs really in a while. I mean, we do one or two here or there, but like, the last Murder Dolls record was 2010, and the first one was 2002. So going back to play these songs, and the very first album, 21 years ago, that's those are songs I wrote when I was a teenager. So going back to that, it's like going back in time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun to play those songs, and the reaction's been good so far. I know someone asked earlier if we were playing Seattle, and I didn't have the date, but I have it now. It is October 25th on a Wednesday in Seattle. You can't forget that date because
just to see Wednesday on a Wednesday. Speaking of back in time, not too far from where Wednesday lives, I showed him that they have a Burger King that was used in Back to the Future, and so now you'll never go past it again without noticing that was that big opening scene. So that's where you can check out Wednesday. I'll tell you my favorite songs Wednesday of yours because I've been listening lately. I like this one called "Haunt Me," and I asked you. I said the bass playing is great on that song. Who played it? And the answer was you. And I think Piggy D played live on that tour. Transylvania 90210, great record title.
Yes.
And
I found out later that's Elvira put out a book called Transylvania 90210. She beat me to it.
Mm-hmm.
But no one's ever really said that. I just found out. I was like, whoa, nobody said anything. So all right, it's cool.
You weren't born. I also like Return to Haddonfield because I've been sharing it to promote this episode.
You know,
And
I totally forgot that I wrote a song about that and we were there the whole weekend. I didn't even think about that. But that's my second song about Haddonfield. That I wrote. That's actually like part 2 to the first one. So I'm such a nerd. I'm like, I can write one more song about Haddonfield. Why not?
I'm a fan of the sequel. It's one of the rare times where I like the sequel better. I don't like Godfather 2 better than Godfather 1, but
I think your next song, you should write a song about Russellville.
Russellville. Where was I'm drawing a blank.
Russellville is it's in Halloween 2, and she's like, you told me you take me home, or you take me over to Eddie Lee's house. He's all the way in Russellville. You promised.
That's a good one.
The next one has to be about Russellville.
And then, of course, Bad Things. That's a big one. Everybody likes that one. I think that's much associated with your solo career. People want that.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That's like our Rock You Like a Hurricane. We saved that till the
end. Anyway, you guys, everyone watching, we thank you so much. We've gone 2 hours and 45 minutes, probably the longest we've ever gone. So support
look
these
at that.
guys.
That quote right there. That was a Chuck Norris quote.
Which one?
Said Wednesday 13th throwing so many rights. Please hit us with a left. That's what Chuck Norris said in Invasion USA. This guy came in a room and he had the guy's hand with a knife in it. And he was like, "Come back in here again. I'm gonna hit you with so many rights. You're gonna beg me for a lift."
We were.
Are you guys fans of Silent Rage?
Mm-hmm. We just talked about this. Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, that is like the Chuck Norris meets Michael Myers film. And doesn't the killer look a lot like Tom Morga? If you think about it,
he's a creep. That guy creeped me out pre-Michael Myers. I saw that first. I was terrified. That guy's name John Kirby is the character. And the actor's name is Brian Libby. I've tracked him down.
While we were online for Tom Atkins, we discussed it.
Yes, I said exactly what
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, make sure you go and support these guys' channels and other things they do. And I hope we do it again. There's so much to talk about. Again, this doesn't feel like any sort of work. We're having a great conversation. And I'm glad that other people who are like-minded get to partake in it as well. Hopefully we'll all see each other on the road and traveling. People ask, what are your plans for Halloween? If you're like me, it's not cliche to say every day is Halloween. I don't think the actual day I do anything special. You're playing, right, Wednesday?
I am playing the Nile Theater in Arizona on Halloween night. Halloween's on a Tuesday this week, I believe, or this year.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I'll make it Wednesday.
Sean, do you do anything on the actual Halloween? You observe?
If I'm home, which I should be on that Tuesday, I usually just decorate and give out candy to the kids, and we usually go out. We go all out. Since it's on a Tuesday, that'll give me a little extra prep time because I like to really do it up. Last year, or was it the year before? Maybe we weren't home last year. I had it to where the kids had to go through my backyard through one gate and out another in order to get the candy. And of course we had the backyard set up kind of like almost like mini haunt style,
That's so cool.
The kids don't even know they're going past the Michael Myers step from the original house. They have no idea what's happening.
They're actually walking on the fucker. So.
Well, I'm spending my Halloween in Los Angeles this year because my I forgot what I call her, better half, whatever they call it, a domestic partner has law school and more important things to do. So I'll be spending it in California. So Sean, slip me your address. I'll stop by for some candy. I want to see the step. But every day is Halloween for all of us. Look behind us. This is not an act. This is not a studio. We live it. So. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Almost 3 hours of talk, and I'm sure we could talk for another 3 hours. We'll see you everybody again real soon.
And Jason, make sure to give Wednesday my contact info, and we'll stay in touch. And if you're in town when we need a spare player, if you're near that Burger King, you're obviously not far from from
Yeah,
Blast from the Past. So
Blast from the Past is literally, I told Jason when he was coming into town, he was like, I want to go to Halloween Town. I was like, oh, cool. I was like, that's right near my house. And there's a cool place called Blast from the Past. And boom, there you are. So I know it
I
very
don't want
well.
to give away Wednesday's complete address, but he does have a Michael Myers window cling in his window. So if you see,
I have to.
we pulled up at his house and there's pumpkins and a Michael Myers. I go, that's the one. You know,
Yeah,
we
I'm
knew
the
we were
only one
close.
on my street that has decorations. I noticed last night. I just put like the final touch on my front yard, and I'm walking like there's no one else doing this. Okay, all right.
You're kicking
that area, they usually do it up pretty well too. Actually, Christopher Nelson lives right over by there too. So his street, they usually go off pretty well. His house, he goes crazy.
Yeah, my street so far, I'm the ghoul, which I'm all right. So I'm the only one. It works out.
I'll be back live again tomorrow. More horror talk. Courtney Gaines will be here. Malachi from Children of the Corn. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Like, comment, subscribe to everybody. Go ahead.
And don't forget Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I forgot. He could have been at the show.
He could have.
I'm going to ask him about it. We'll get to the bottom of all that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, and check us all out. And